Hey, Prime members, you can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Download the app today.
In the depths of an Atlanta forest, a clash between activists and authorities ends in tragedy. I'm Matthew Scher, and on my new podcast, We Came to the Forest, we expose the hidden truths behind a shootout that left one activist dead and countless lives forever changed. Binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest ad-free on Wondery Plus.
Hello and welcome to Crime and Sports.
Yay!
Yay indeed, Jimmie. Yay indeed. I'm James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you folks so much for joining us again on another wild, crazy, and of course death-defying edition of Crime and Sports. We are jacked this week. We had a week off, so whenever we have a week off, we always come back extra energized because we only did small town murder last week, so it charges our batteries a little bit and
resting you.
And we always come back with one of the crazier stories. We save those for those weeks where we take a week off to say, sorry about the week off, but here is 3 weeks worth of crazy for you to make up for the 1 week we missed, basically. First of all, thank you everyone who did I guess God or whoever's work this week and all of your reviews. Whoever you pray to, they forced you to do good this week by I don't know, by giving us 5 stars. I guess. Wow, we just connected that to made it a religious. It's a religious experience to give us 5 stars. You see, so you got to do that.
We have to pray to that funky algorithm.
That's the thing. Apple Podcast, that purple icon. We don't know why, but it helps drive you up the charts. So if you haven't done it yet, please give us 5 stars. Doesn't matter what you say. It's not for our egos. Just say you're following instructions. These guys made me do it. Whatever it is. Go to shutupandgivememurder.com.
Yes.
Now.
Right now.
When you're done with the show. One of the two.
Or pause this. Go do
pause
it.
And then come back. But come back because it's a crazy story. Head to shutupandgivememurder.com. All of your crime and sports needs, all of your t-shirts and crazy. We have all sorts of weird items. Check on there and you'll see a bunch of stuff that is you wouldn't expect. We have skateboards. I mean, who the hell would have thought of that? So there's a lot of stuff on there to look at. Also, all of your small town murder stuff. If you're not listening to Small Town Murder, I don't know what you're doing. It's us doing this with a murder that happened in a small town. So I feel like you'd enjoy that if you like this there. So get on top of that. Also, get tickets for right now the only Crime and Sports Live on the books. It is in April 8th in Nashville, Tennessee at Zany's. Get your tickets right now. There's a few left. We have a small town murder there the night before, and that is sold out.
Already done.
So this is, there's only a few left already. I know it's early, but if you want to get in that show, we suggest get your tickets right now. We don't want people saying, hey, I missed it. Well, you know what? We tried.
Told you.
We told you. We begged. We pleaded.
What do you want?
What do you want from us? What do you want? Damn it.
But, deliver them?
If you want to see us do Small Town Murder Live this weekend, we will be in Pittsburgh, sold out. We will be. There's some tickets left in Philadelphia at the Fillmore and Washington, D.C. this Sunday at the 9:30, which is apparently a really awesome theater.
I'm excited to see it.
We're jacked for that. So come see us out there. Thank you for that. If you want to be one of our producers, one of our heroes, who we will talk about at the end of the show in glowing terms, really nicer than we speak of any other people because they're amazing. You can do that very easily by going to patreon.com/crimeinsports, or you can head over to PayPal, make a one-time donation there using our email address, which is crimeinsports@gmail.com. And both of those places can be reached right from your centralized area, your centralized location.
Shut up and give me murder.com.
That's right, my friend. That is right. Without further ado, let's get into this because it's the most research I've ever had to do on a case. Literally, this is more than OJ.
Really?
This is a lot. This was a lot. I've written several screenplays that were shorter than this episode in terms of pages. So if any writers out there, they're going to go, holy shit, yes, exactly. So it's a lot. Let's get into it. So much crazy for Dwight Gooden.
Oh, yes.
Oh, Doc Gooden.
He
Jesus
played for the
Christ.
Mets.
You know that he did not play for the Expos.
No.
But Mets, Yankees, Indians, he
right,
got
he
around.
played.
Yeah, a couple Devil Rays
Jesus.
for a minute,
Oh,
Astros
no.
for 5 seconds.
Yeah.
He got around. But Doc, if you're not a baseball fan, or if you're just not familiar with Doc Gooden, you might be young. I still know because he's getting in trouble right up until this minute. I got to keep checking Google. I had to keep Googling Doc as I'm doing the research to see if he got arrested right up until, press time, for lack of a better
5 minutes ago.
We're going to press. Is Doc out of jail? Is he free right now?
Is he free?
Has he been busted for coke in the last 5 minutes? No? Okay, good. That's what it's like here with Doc Gooden. It's 35. He's been famous for 35 years, and he's been a goddamn disaster the entire time.
It's unbelievable.
And it's just so much to document. So let's get into it, man. This is OJ plus Rodman divided by Pac-Man.
Yeah.
Let's do this shit. Let's get right. Dwight Eugene Gooden.
No kidding.
Yeah, and I thought you'd have a problem with
That's
that middle
a
name
bummer.
for some reason.
Well, the both of them.
Yeah,
the
Dwight.
both of them suck.
Dwight and Eugene.
Yeah, together.
Very
Yeesh.
old man names.
They are.
Dwight Eisenhower.
Yeah.
Eugene,
You sound like an asshole.
Yeah, you sound like a 50 senator.
Right.
Dwight Eugene Gooden, senator from Nebraska.
Right.
How does he feel? Yeah, the communists are ruining this country. That's what's happening right here.
It's all socialism.
It's not communism, damn it. Not socialist, communism. The Red Menace is coming. So, Doc Gooden, as we all know him by date of birth, November 16th, 1964. Now, Doc, we won't talk too much about his young life because he's just fucked up so much in his adult life. You know what? it outweighs it. It doesn't matter what happened here.
How did he get Doc as a nickname?
Dr. K, Dr. Strikeout.
Really?
That's how they gave him Doc. They called him Dr. K.
I hate it.
Instead of Dr. J.
Right.
He's the doctor.
I hate it so much.
It's stupid. But then Doc Gooden's pretty cool.
I've never known him by anything other than
because that was a stupid name given to him by the press or who knows, maybe a Mets publicity agent or somebody like that. But then they just Doc sounded cooler. We call a guy Dr. K. That's a stupid name.
Really
There's already a Dr. J.
Right.
So it's confusing. So they just go with Doc, which is a pretty cool name. Yeah. So anyway, Doc is the youngest of 6 kids.
Really?
So he's the baby. Yeah.
6, huh?
And he's the youngest by far, which is the thing. We'll talk about that in a second. I guess his parents were really good parents. He came up in a loving, structured home. He didn't, we're not talking a dirt floor living room. We're not talking any, crazy Willie Mays Aikens antics. No
hardworking middle class people.
Yeah, there's no prostitutes coming in and out. Nobody's getting pulled out of the home and drugged to jail or anything like that. No, nothing crazy. These are people that take care of their 6 kids, and they're nice, caring, good parents. These people. Mother very strict apparently. Which 6 kids?
She better be.
You got to be kind of strict, I think, just to keep your house in order and not have it be burning to the ground.
Right, you're outnumbered. You better
That's
figure
ridiculous.
it out.
Yeah, you're outnumbered by far.
Yeah,
like they doubled you up
close.
plus 1. They have a leader, and then he's got a squadron of double your power. It's not good. And his dad, I guess, was a very, very good dad, very attentive, always there. This is not your typical crime and sports upbringing because this is your. Usually we have the either the father ran so far away they were never found again immediately, or they stuck around, beat the living shit out of everybody and caused a problem, or the opposite, they were so over involved that they gave their kids, made them chew on kidneys and do calisthenics when they were 6 months old.
They were the most important little kid in the world.
The Capriottis and the Marinoviches and those people, like there's that, and this is a rarity. Art Schlichter, that kind of thing. Right. This is different. This is a father who had a healthy connection with his son. His son said he liked baseball, so he helped his son be good at baseball. Didn't force him to do shit, didn't drag him places, didn't make him. Just was like, if you like it, good for you. I'll support you.
All right.
We very rare. I think it's like the second or third time this has happened. So Doc he really has no excuses
None.
for being a fuck up in his life, I would say, except for he just came up in a time when it was new to be that kind of famous and an athlete and that rich, and it just kind of he came up young, man.
And Coke was
it was considered just a fun,
right?
Yeah, it wasn't.
He grew up in the time that it was actually an exciting thing to do.
Yeah, it wasn't like that's bad. It was like that was a cool thing to do for those people.
There was mystique rather than stigma.
Yeah. Well, Gooden says, Doc says about his dad, quote, I remember being about 6 or 7 watching games with him on Saturdays, and he'll have his beer and chips and I'll have my juice and cookies and what have you.
Oh.
So this is what I mean. He had a good upbringing, good relationship with his parents. He said that his parents helped kind of shield him from all the outside shit that allowed him to concentrate on baseball. Okay. Rather than forcing him to concentrate on baseball, they just made it easy for him to concentrate on baseball, and he liked baseball and was really good at it. So
what the hell happened?
Well, that's the problem. And with a guy like Doc Gooden, certain guys that we talk about, it's like a guy like Dennis Rodman wasn't special early. He wasn't. Right. He didn't even have a growth spurt
special until after he was
in the NBA, for God's sake. Yeah. Like that's it. Like he didn't even have a growth spurt till after high school. Right. No one ever took him aside in the 10th grade and said, "Hey, buddy, you're special." No one ever did that. So there's like give
him an application to be a janitor.
Yeah, that's a different thing. And he was stealing watches from the airport. I mean, that's airport gift shop watches. Gross. Gooden is a different story because Gooden is. He's when you throw 100 miles an hour, when you throw 98, 99 miles an hour, man, people see that when you're 12 that you have an arm is different than everybody else, and they take you aside.
Right.
And you have a different upbringing. You're told you're not like everybody else. Right. Like, yeah, they're all, but you make sure to focus because you actually have something special. Yeah. It's a weird thing that they do with kids. I don't know how it affects them. Exactly, but
are you going to get deeper into the family? Because I just want to know how.
Just for a second,
how did he? Who's related to who to get Strawberry and him together?
Strawberry and him, from what I understand, are not like really related.
They're not real cousins.
They're like cousins, but 8 people removed. How the fuck
do they both have that weird head?
8 people removed. They're just both from Tampa, and they came up at the same time.
Okay.
I feel like that's just a Tampa head.
I thought they were legit related.
It's the roosters. That's the problem. Right, it's a rooster disease that everybody gets, and it makes your head weird.
The rooster flu.
It's a rooster flu that your mom gets when she's pregnant. From being in Tampa, and then
it's from the Tampa incubation fever.
We'll say this over and over: get your shit together, Tampa. We were there. Get it together. Yeah. You have roosters. They're in charge. Right. They're running the street. People would stop their cars to get out to shoot roosters away. What the fuck kind of third world horse shit is that? Get your head out of your asses. Clear the livestock from the streets, and let's have a goddamn civilized town here. What are we doing?
Barbecue the fuckers on a street corner.
Good Lord.
Just get rid of them one way or another.
No, you just can't do it. They're disgusting, too. All of them. They all look diseased. They're walking around. They look like they're ready to peck you and give you something. I'm sure that they're wonderful, and we should preserve them. Great. Pen them all in and preserve them. Give them a big giant area.
Throw corn to them in the morning.
As much as they want. I'm not saying be mean to the roosters, but what the fuck is happening, man? All hours of the day and night they're crowing. It's the fucking problem, dude.
Is this a society or not? Figure it the fuck out.
What happened? Well, it is Florida, so sort of. So now Doc says, quote, when I got about 10, I remember my dad asking me how much did I like baseball. I said, I like it a lot. And he said, well, how much? I said, I like it where maybe I could be on TV. He said, okay. So from that point on, he was basically going to live out his dream where after work, he'd take me to the field and help me do all these drills.
Oh, Jesus.
So he was like, if you want my help, I'll help you. And he was like, yeah, let's do it. So he was like, all right. But I mean, that's when he was 10. Yeah. He didn't get him in a crib and start working his calf, his hamstrings and shit. He waited till Doc had an interest in it. So he was like,
make some decisions.
If you have an interest in it, I'll help you. Exactly the right level of support you should have as a parent. Exactly that.
Somehow.
you can't, it's not your fault, basically. Yeah. Sometimes you can't help it.
Sometimes you're predisposed to
the world takes you, man.
Loving fucking chaos.
The world takes you, loving cocaine. It's he says, and this is weird, quote, my nearest sister is 13 years older than me.
His nearest.
So they had 5. So think about what kind of the level of he's the baby that is. They had 5 kids that were probably ranging from,
13 on
13 to 20. Yeah. Who knows? They had their 5 kids, and then like when they were all getting older, they were like, you miss having a baby, I miss having, and then they had a baby.
There was that conversation?
Probably.
Or was it a fuck up?
No, or a fuck up, but it seems like maybe it was that conversation. Like they like, because if you have 5 kids, you like having kids.
We're almost done.
You
Are
like
you sure
having
you don't
kids.
Want to do it?
You know,
sure you don't want to do no more?
Because couples do that shit.
One more, and then I'm out.
Baby, let's have one more.
If you want it, I'll do it now.
And then
Tomorrow,
think about it.
No.
All the other siblings are going to be doting on this kid because it's a baby, and they're all.
Yeah, 5.
He's the baby.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see how you would get that coddled kind of, I don't know, privileged, I guess.
You'll never have to change a diaper, baby. Let's just do one more.
Everyone's going to be changing you.
Oh, boy.
So by the time you're done having these fucking kids. So yeah, he says, I don't want to say I was spoiled, but I had what I wanted growing up. Once I got to the big leagues, it happened so quickly for me, I got caught up in it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, he was a spoiled kid, basically. I mean, not spoiled, but not... he didn't want for shit.
Right.
He just didn't, and he didn't even know that wasn't normal. He just was like, yeah, everybody takes care of you and shit.
He's got 7 people in his house doing it every day.
Yeah, and his parents had time.
Yeah,
because they were older, and they were the other kids were older, so they had time to cut. By the time he was 10, his youngest sister's 23, or his older, the nearest sibling's 23. He's the only one in the house.
Yeah,
so the dad has time to concentrate.
Sure.
If other 5 kids, it was like, well, I'll play baseball, get the fuck out there and play it. I don't know, play with each other.
Dad's not putting in overtime anymore. He's damn near at the end of his career.
Yeah, he's got to
fucking work.
He doesn't have to pay for 5 kids anymore.
Right.
They're grown. So
it's great.
Yeah, it's a different thing. Starts drinking when he's a teenager a little bit, partying 14, 15, guys on the team and, baseball team and stuff like that. And he said it loosened him up a little bit because he was kind of an introvert.
That's what that shit does.
That's what it does. It's
that's the idea.
That's the thing. Smoked a little bit of weed.
Yeah.
When you're a 15-year-old kid or 16-year-old kid and other people are doing shit and you're kind of tight, not that you should be doing that, but it's like, that's why kids do it, to try to fit in and to try to feel less awkward, I think is the thing. Yeah, I don't know what it is. So
that fucking social
normal,
anxiety
I'm not hold that against
of feeling not like everybody else is the fucking worst.
It's terrible, and because when you have it when you're 40, and you go, Jesus, it was. And you think about how much worse it was when you were 15. It's like, wow, I've come a long way, and I still am a fucking mess.
Well, when you walk through the grocery store and you don't feel like everybody else there, it's a little different because you walk through the high school walls and those people make fun of you. You know what I mean? Like the people in the grocery store, they got their own shit going on.
Yeah.
They're not
These
there to make fun. Can you imagine if you were walking through the grocery store and people were just roasting you?
That'd be amazing. People calling you
amazing.
Yeah,
I would hate it.
It'd be terrible. Well, not amazing in a good way, but amazing in just a wow. You would walk out shaking your head every time. Jesus Christ,
things never change.
8 people called me a homo for some reason. I figure if it's like 7th grade, that's the insult you'd be getting.
Butcher threw me ground chuck and called me a faggot.
Yeah,
what
that's not cool. I don't know. It just. This sucks, man. That's middle school. Yeah. That's 14 years old, 15, high school, early high school. That's what people do to each other for some reason. Stop doing that to each other.
Truly.
Yeah, stop calling each other Jesus.
Terrible names that genuinely hurt feelings.
Yeah, stop. Just be nice.
I mean, it's cliche, but I like to tell my kids, if you see somebody getting picked on, fucking be their friend. And,
yeah, that's always a nice thing to do.
And it doesn't work.
No, it's hard. It's hard.
Because then those kids pick on my kids.
That's the other thing.
And then I've got to go to a school and talk to somebody.
Yeah, then you think about it as an adult, you'd be like, well, fuck that. I'll be his friend. Somebody comes over, I'll tell them to fuck themselves. But your 9-year-old doesn't think that way. Hey, listen, mister. Hey, angry mob, all of you.
Well, that kid gets bullied by all these other kids, and then another kid comes up and tries to be their friend, and they're like, well, I'm weaker than all of them, but you're weaker than me.
That's
and then
the thing.
They pick on that kid.
Yeah, you're still you're still outnumbered. Right. That's the problem.
You're still looking for a pecking order.
Yeah. So Gooden, though, the thing is, his athleticism it trumps all that shit. Like it's. I mean, he's throwing in the 90s. So when you're throwing in the 90s miles an hour wise as a teenager, you're just special. They look at you as special. You have this. It's this weird thing. Yeah. He's a skinny kid and all this shit, but for some reason, you give him a baseball and he can fucking hurl that thing like a bastard.
It's pretty amazing.
So all through high school, he's a pretty big, high school star, as you might imagine, because he's 2 years later he'll be, being a phenom in the major leagues. So imagine what he's doing with 16-year-olds. Yeah, he's a Tampa guy.
Wow.
Him, Sheffield, Strawberry, all. Okay. He's Sheffield's uncle. They're always together, as we'll find out.
That's real?
Oh, that's straight up. Yeah, they get arrested together multiple times.
How is that a thing? Like what?
I don't know the relationship, but he is his uncle. It's probably one of his sister's kids, I would imagine, because he has older sisters, and so that way they would be similar in age. That makes sense. There,
I always mix up Sheffield and McGriff.
Really? Well,
that's a thing that I always do.
Interesting.
Just because they have that square.
One's
head.
righty, one's lefty. Though.
Is it?
Totally
I
different.
wouldn't. I never. I never absorbed that.
Sheffield's got that bat wag. You can't miss him for anybody. He's the strongest wrists in the history of baseball. I've never seen anybody do that with a bat.
Yeah.
Take a major league bat and try doing what he did.
Try to dance them
back and forth with the bat. Well,
see if you move your shoulders.
You'll have no feeling in your wrist before a pitch would come to you. And he did this constantly and then crushed the ball. It's insane. So 1982 amateur draft right out of high school. Gooden's into it. This draft is Sean Dunston was the number 1 overall. Shortstop for the Cubs forever. Absolutely. Doc goes number 5 overall.
Really?
At a high school. And this was an era when, 3 out of the top 5 people were high schoolers.
Wow.
Nowadays, it's a lot more college kids. But, also Dwayne Ward, who played for the Braves, was in this one. Todd Worrell, who's for the Cardinals forever, was in this first round. Rich Monteleone, a shitty reliever for the Yankees that, Jay Moore always talks about he loved Bob Shepard. That's his favorite. Bob Shepard's the announcer for the Yankees, an old guy who died. They call him the voice of God. And he talked like this. And he said this was his favorite announcer, Rich Monteleone. He had the great Monteleone.
And he said the last name twice. Right?
Monteleone.
Yeah.
Number 23. That was Mattingly. It's Don Mattingly. Number 23. It's a great announcer. So, anyway, also in this round, that's the first round, David Wells, the fat Yankee, Blue Jay, perfect game throwing guy. Barry Bonds,
no kidding,
drafted by the Giants but didn't sign in this one. Ended up signing later because he played for ASU.
No kidding.
Also there, Bo Jackson, drafted by the Yankees here but didn't sign. He went to college, which is interesting. Barry Larkin drafted here, didn't sign though. Jimmy Key drafted. Roger McDowell. These are all future.
All those people.
Mike
later.
Greenwell, Dan Pasqua, Randy Johnson signed here but didn't sign. Was drafted by the Braves but didn't sign. Will Clark, Mike Maddox, tons of guys. B.J. Surhoff, very loaded draft. Mitch Williams, as we remember there. Rafael Palmeiro, Jesus Christ. Mark McLemore, Billy Ripken, Jose Canseco in the 15th round.
This is like the steroid draft.
Yeah,
every one of these guys.
Brett Saberhagen, it's Rob Dibble. Jesus Christ, man, this is a lot of guys. Kenny Rogers.
Every one of these guys testified before Congress.
Most of them testified before Congress. It's a very who's who of the late, early 1992.
Yeah,
it's basically a baseball card pile from 1992.
Yeah. This is my tops.
Weird. So also drafted here in the 13th round, Urban Meyer. What? We talked about this in the Canseco episode. Urban Meyer, the coach, was drafted by the Braves, and Del Curry.
That's right.
Steph Curry's father, an NBA star, drafted in the 37th round by the Rangers, but didn't sign. No. A lot of times, the baseball, they'll take a flyer on a guy who's an athlete, and football used to do that when they used to have 15 rounds. Yeah, they just take, I think Dave Winfield got drafted in the NFL. He never played football. They were just he's a big 6'7" athletic, because they used to have 20 rounds.
That's fascinating.
The guy in the 18th round who's athletic, and you go, hey man, you want to try it?
Coach saw a tall guy at the grocery store.
What's his name? Damn it, I forgot again. The Dallas Cowboy Hall of Famer who was an Olympic sprinter who they just took on a whim. They were like, let's draft that guy in the 15th round, even though doesn't play football. And maybe he'll want to play football, and he ended up being a Hall of Famer.
How about that?
Damn it, Bob something. Damn it, goddamn it. Early 60s.
White.
He was not.
No, I mean Bob White.
No, his name wasn't White. He said, don't look at me, he was white. And I'm like, no, certainly not. So, what are you going to do?
It was just a dumb guess.
So, 1982, he plays in a couple of rookie leagues. He plays in rookie ball, and he plays in A-ball, plays in Kingsport and Little Falls, an Appalachian League, and another league there, Kingsport, Tennessee. A roommate, he said, offered him chewing tobacco in his rookie ball in Tennessee. He says, quote, I got sick as a dog and threw up. I wish cocaine had done that to me.
I almost just said that.
So he wishes.
Wish you got sick from that shit.
I wish Coke would have made you go, no, never again.
Who knows? He may be dead by now if he liked tobacco too.
Yeah, that's true. If he did tobacco with the fervor that he did cocaine, he would be 8 packs a day, to have a cigarette in his ear all the time. No, nothing. So in 1983, he plays for Lynchburg, which is an A-ball team, like a high A or regular A-ball. Goes 19-4 that year for them, which with a 2 2.50 ERA.
Yeah.
So I mean, right away he's 191 innings, which is almost major league level.
Boy, was he a great pitcher.
300 strikeouts in 191 innings. So that's and 112 walks.
How many strikeouts?
300 in
109.
Yeah,
that's
obscene.
What?
That's obscene.
That's almost striking out the side every time.
That's just not even fair.
That's unbelievable.
I mean, when they saw that, they're like, this is wow. Because I mean, fuck, man, think about that. That's bonkers.
That's ridiculous.
Too many strikeouts. So 84, they call him up. He is up in the beginning of 84.
Well, yeah, let's not waste the arm down there.
He is 19 years old, though, which, dude, that is so young to be facing major league hitters and that kind of pressure. And
in real world circumstances.
And you're not going to, I mean, no offense to, Cleveland, but you're not in Cleveland or you're not in Minneapolis where they might be a little more, a little kinder and a little, hey, let's welcome him in, that sort of thing. In New York, it's like, oh, they can't wait to crucify a 19-year-old. If they can just destroy a 19-year-old every day on talk radio and in the papers back then, that's a dream. Because then
basically what it would be like pitching in New York is if you could get roasted at the grocery store every
all
single
the time.
day.
Just everyone call Steinbrenner calling you a homo. No, but
he's the self-checkout pussy.
Yeah, but it's different too because not to roast you, but they want to say what a mistake it is that the team brought up a 19.
You are here.
Yes, like
your existence.
That's how stupid they are. You don't bring up a 19-year-old kid, so they'll look for any reason to say, look how terrible he is, see how dumb this team is. Yeah. Because otherwise, what are you going to say? Oh, the team made a pretty good decision. We'll see how it works out. Does that sell papers?
No.
You buy in the fucking Daily News?
I'm not tuning in for that.
The back page has things might work out with a shrugging Steinbrenner on the back. No, they're not going to. No one's buying that. So 84 comes up with the Mets, and he comes up. This is a fast group, too. This is not a group of choir boys.
Right.
This is Keith Hernandez is the leader of the clubhouse, who, if you don't know who Keith Hernandez is, he was a fucking bounder, man. This is a guy who just was a coke snorting drink. He's like baseball's Ric Flair, basically. He's just out, showing his cock to everybody. I don't know if he probably didn't actually show his cock, but he might have. But I mean, he was out.
It's 84.
He's out slinging it, man. Yeah. He's out fucking doing coke. He's drinking like a fish. He's at the bar. He told Doc early in his career, if you're ever in a slump, you got to go out and get so hammered that you black out. You got to get fucking blackout wasted. Then the next day you'll have a good game.
What if you don't black out?
Yeah, he said you got to get so wasted you don't even remember what happened. That's the only way to break out of a slump.
Unbelievable.
So that's the kind of advice they're giving a 19-year-old, essentially a child who's been sheltered his whole life by his parents and his older siblings and all this type of shit. Now he's got Keith Hernandez with coke in his mustache going, let me tell you something, kid. Only way to crack a slump is to get blotto. You know what I'm saying? All right, here's some martini for you. All right, then.
Let's go, kid.
I'm going to go hit 313 this year. And it's fucking weird.
Yeah.
Just weird. Wally Backman, the second baseman, and George Foster in left field, one of my favorite. Fuck, I love George Foster. One of the scariest looking men of all time. Most frightening. He looked like somebody's dad that would beat his kid's ass and your ass for being there with his kid if his kid fucked up there. Big old fucking like the afro mutton chops, which just is a tough look.
Is that the guy you were talking about with the baseball cap that barely fits on it? Is that what you were talking about?
I don't think so. No, that's not George Foster. That was somebody else.
That was a baseball card that you were talking about.
Yeah,
it was somebody from
Oscar Gamble with the afro. No. This is he had a tight like a shaft afro. George Foster, but no, George Foster. He had these eyes on him that just looked like you pitch that ball, I will fucking smash that shit so far. He was a great hitter too, just a great player. Mookie Wilson. This is Darryl Strawberry's rookie year as well. So he gets in with that crowd right away.
So Darryl Strawberry played rookie ball with him also.
Strawberry was in front of him.
Okay.
So
got it.
Gooden went right from. He didn't play like AAA. Gooden went from A ball to the majors, which is ridiculous. Strawberry came up through the system a little more than that quickly, but still, you can't have a hitter go from A ball to the majors. That's not. He hasn't seen a curveball yet.
Right.
You have to at least see a curveball before you go to the majors.
Exposed to some shit.
Yeah. At least you got to get those good AA sliders that they have and shit like that. So this year for the Mets, he goes 17-9, 19 and 20 years old with a 2.60 ERA.
That's pretty good.
And leads the league with 276 strikeouts.
My God.
So absolutely crushing. 218 innings pitched. He's an all-star.
Yeah.
Second in Cy Young balloting.
What?
19 years old.
What the
Second
fuck?
15th in the MVP, and of course he's Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
And I can't begin to tell you, I was, 5-6 years old when this was going on in New York. I can't begin to tell you how huge he was in New York. Like, he was the biggest thing in the world.
Sure.
I mean, he's just this thing that explodes on the scene. He's a child, for Christ's sake. I mean, a phenom doesn't begin to describe.
Where the hell did he come from? This is amazing.
It was people loved him, and he's just, and his style of pitching is so exciting too. He's long, he's lanky, throws heat. He's got this vicious curveball, strikes people out. He's exciting to watch. He really is. So he's the type of guy. He's not a guy who's going to go out there and let's get some ground balls, everybody, and he's going to dominate and bring a lot of excitement to the game. He makes $40,000 for this effort.
$40,000 to be the big fish.
To be
the big
Rookie
shot.
of the Year on the All-Star team.
$40,000.
Second in the Cy Young voting.
Fuck you, I quit.
That's amazing. $40,000 from that because he's still under minor league. So that's like minimum for the prorated what he played there. Well, that's crazy. 1985 here. 1985 Mets. This is when the team starting to get really good, and this is Doc's insane season. This is one of the best seasons in the history of baseball. You can't. We're going to make fun of Doc a lot and everything. You can't sell short how amazing he was. Literally, his first 2 years in the majors you can compare to the first 2 years of anybody in the history of baseball. And you can make an argument that his is better.
Or even
anybody.
Especially his anybody's sports anywhere. Like the excitement of him coming up and paying off. It's so rare.
But especially in baseball. Baseball, young people, baseball is a thing that takes a while. You're not in your game till you're 27, 28 years old, and then you're in it for like 3 years and your body breaks down. And that's how it works so if you come up at this age, the only time this happens is with pitchers, really. And once in a while a hitter, but you'll get a pitcher.
Yeah, Chipper Jones, all the excitement around him. And then
well, I mean, those guys are in the minors for 4 or 5 years. You get like a Steven Strasburg, you get a Doc Gooden, you get these pitchers who are lightning in a bottle, and you're like, Jesus Christ, I don't care if he's 19, he's throwing 98 miles an hour and his curveball bounces on the ground from starting at the letters. What am I supposed to do?
It's unbelievable.
Keep him down there? You got to bring him up. So the Mets go 98-64 this year. They're second in their division, which means no playoffs back then, no wild card. 98 games and no playoffs.
Oh, that's so insulting.
That's rough. Doc, though, Jesus Christ, 24-4 this year.
Wow.
Which is ERA 1.53. 153.
Unreal.
And this is the beginning of the steroid. There are people that are taking shit in 1985. This isn't 1968 Bob Gibson on the high mound with a bunch of skinny dudes drinking 12 packs every day. There are actual athletes playing in this.
Absolutely.
It's not saying anything. Bob Gibson's one of my top 10 players of all time. I love him, but this is insane to do this then as a child, as a kid still. And so 153 ERA, 276.2 innings pitched, 268 strikeouts. It's just a crazy season. Whip under one, all-star. He wins the Cy Young Award this year, and he's fourth in MVP voting. That was when they didn't really want to give it to pitchers ever. Now they don't give a shit. But
now they give it to. It's almost them every year.
Yeah, because if you look at it that way, that's why it's like, well, yeah, obviously. I mean, so anyway, he makes $450,000 for this year, so that's a little bit better. Goes into 86, and we won't talk too much more about baseball after kind of this early era here. 1986 Mets, this is where they go on their magical, amazing Met run here. 108-54, and they go through. They beat the Astros 4-2 in the championship series, which I remember watching on TV. Very good series. And then the famous 7-game Red Sox World Series. We've talked about that with Dykstra, Bill Buckner. You get the idea. Gooden pitches very well, gets no wins.
Really?
He has no postseason wins ever in his whole career, even though he has some very good postseason games. For some reason, he'll come out in the game's 1-1, or
somebody else has to dig it out.
He comes out with a 2-1 lead, and then they go up. They ended up being going down 3-2, and then they end up winning the game or whatever. But one of those things, it gets no decisions a lot, no wins.
That's
though.
Terrible.
Yeah, it's really weird here. This is the year where they, this Dykstra, it's all those guys. So crazy year there. Doc 17-6, 33 games pitched altogether here, 250 innings, 200 strikeouts, his usual self. He's pretty goddamn nasty. 80 walks, 200 strikeouts, only 80 walks, not bad. He's an all-star, 7th in the Cy Young voting. $1.32 million
now
this
we're
year.
talking. Now he's made some coin.
He's made some coin. They go all the way. They're World Series champions, damn it. So now he's 21 years old, ring on his finger.
What the shit?
$1 million, golden arm.
3 years in the bag, too. That's incredible.
He could walk down the street in New York and not even hit the pavement. People would carry him through and just, the anointed one. That's how, like, I was a Yankee fan. Even Yankee fans loved him. Even if you hated the Mets, you're like, that Gooden kid, Jesus Christ. I mean,
good.
They can't fucking, good God, Jesus. I watch him every time he's on. I hate the Mets, but, that's fucking Gooden when he's on. I won't watch that fat Sid Fernandez throw that fucking ball, but you get that Ron Darling with his pretty ass out there. I'm not going to watch him. But I'll tell you what.
Is pretty
you get me Doc Gooden out there. I'm going to watch it.
All day
long. Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit more about HelloFresh.
HelloFresh.com.
That's right. HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit where you get easy, seasonal recipes and pre-measured ingredients delivered right to your door. All you have to do is cook and enjoy, Jimmy.
It's so easy.
It's so easy. I know you have taken...
I love it.
You're like an all HelloFresh person now. You're like, I can't have time to go to the store.
I don't.
I'm all HelloFresh all the time, and you should be, because HelloFresh makes cooking delicious meals at home a reality, regardless of your comfort in the kitchen. You do not have to be Bobby Flay to do this. You don't. You can be a normal person.
You could be Jimmie Whisman.
You could be Jimmie Whisman that can just read instructions and say, I added this much to that. And it worked. That's it. It's very easy. Step-by-step recipes to pre-measured ingredients. It's all there. HelloFresh gives you everything you need to get really, really great dinner on the table in about 30 minutes. That's the other thing, too. It's quick, easy recipes that are really, really good. You can finally say goodbye to these grocery store trips when you don't have time, and you don't have time to make all this stuff too, and drive through. You want to get home with that greasy bag? No. You want to put that bag down and see the grease soaking through the side of it?
Feel good about yourself.
No, HelloFresh offers something for everyone. Family recipes, calorie smart, vegetarian, full. They have fun menu series too. They have the Hall of Fame series and craft burgers. It's whatever you need, they have it for you. It's so flexible too. You can change your delivery days really easily, your food preferences, skip a week when you need if you're out of town or something, add extra meals to your weekly order, as well as really good add-ons, garlic bread, cookie dough, stuff like that. HelloFresh is delicious. I know you've, like I said,
so simple.
At your house.
Learning, and I like learning to make new things and make better, nutritious and tastier things for my kids. And then I can repeat it.
I say, once you learn it, then you've learned it. And
then it's mine.
Do it over and over.
It's in my head.
It's fantastic. And you can do it too. For $80 off your first month of HelloFresh, just go to HelloFresh.com/crimeinsports80. That's all you do. And then enter the code crimeinsports80. That's like receiving 8 free meals when you just go to HelloFresh.com/crimeinsports80 and enter crimeinsports80.
And now back to the show.
So he's a world champion. He also appears in the movie Ruthless People that year. Remember that? Danny DeVito.
Yeah. And Bette Midler?
Great movie, by the way. Hilarious.
So good.
A classic DeVito. Just class Judge Reinhold.
Yeah, who the fuck was he in that movie?
He played a, quote, pitcher. So I'm sure it was... They were at a baseball game. He's playing Doc Gooden, I'm sure, in like a Met hat with no logo.
Right,
one of those, probably. I don't remember. I haven't seen the movie.
It's a
in
blue
years.
hat with orange stripes.
Yeah, that's what I'm. So now he's 21, which is arguably your physical. You don't get any better than that physically.
In a movie with Danny DeVito.
21 in a movie with very, very funny fucking people. Rich as shit, $1 million in the 80s, cocaine, all around, clouds of it. He doesn't even have to lay it down. He just puts his head up. And
put your tongue in the air.
It's everywhere, like snowflakes. It's all over the place. World Series champion, Grace. Right? It doesn't get better than that, right?
God damn it.
That's Grace, man.
How heartbreaking is that?
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
He had it for 3 years. It's about as good as it gets.
But the bummer, that's the fucking price that athletes pay. Is that he's worked for 3 years, worked his ass off. He's achieved. He's made $2 million.
Yeah.
Combined. All of
total.
It.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
And you blow your arm out tomorrow.
Yeah. You made $2 million.
$2 million.
Best
Chief.
of luck, kid.
Yeah, unless you got a huge contract.
Good fuck, that's horrible.
It's tough. That's a tough thing. These athletes, when they, go for these big contracts and people get mad, and it's like, they could be done at 30.
It could all end tomorrow.
Imagine if you told someone, you're not going to be allowed to make money doing the thing that you went to college for and did all that training for. Right. 30 is going to be, and it could be any day. Right. It's not like you're going to go, well, I'll retire when I'm 37. Right. You could just be feeling great one day, and then just your body gives out, shits out on you, you're done that day.
Try that, Mr. CPA.
Yeah.
See if that works out for you.
So
you think somebody comes in and just tells you can't CPA anymore.
And then you get mad. Yeah, sorry, but you just can't count. You can't hack it anymore.
It's over.
I see you trying to. Your fingers have gotten too fat for the calculator,
it's
Chief.
It's
too. That's what happens though with these people. You broke those fingers too many times.
Hope your 401k is paying off.
That's what I mean. So you don't blame these guys for looking for a little guaranteed dough here. So now it's grace because the World Series parade comes around, and this is the first time the Mets have won since '69 or whatever. Or
it's a big deal.
Yeah. So it's a big deal in New York. It really is. Or was it 71 after that? I don't remember. They know they went against the Orioles. Never mind. Anyway.
Doesn't matter.
It's been at least 15 years since they won the World Series is what I'm saying. And so people are a bit excited. Yeah. Parade's a big deal, and he is one of the core few stars of the team. I mean, if there's people with jerseys on, at least half of them are his. Probably. Basically, it's one of those deals. Yeah. So the parade goes on. Doc doesn't show up though.
Why?
He's supposed to.
Yeah.
He misses it. He says for years, he tells everybody that he had a hangover, and he actually didn't have a hangover. He was
still fucked up
from the night before. He said, quote, this was in a ESPN interview. He said, for myself, a lot of times I get to a certain point using drugs, the paranoia sticks in. So I end up leaving the party with the team, going to these projects of all places in Long Island and hang out there.
No.
He leaves his team's World Series party to go to the projects.
No. Get
mistake.
The fuck out of there.
If you're not your world anymore, Chief. Go somewhere. It never was. For Doc. That's the thing. He says, then you know what time you have to be at the ballpark to go into the city for the parade. But I'm thinking, okay, I got time. And the rooms are spinning. I said, okay, I'll leave in another hour. Then the next thing you know, the parade's on and I'm watching the parade on TV.
You're supposed to be there.
Hey, look at that.
I'm the Grand Marshal.
There's an empty space right there. Big Dr. K behind it. What the fuck? He says, here I am in the projects in a drug dealer's apartment with guys I don't even know with drugs in the house watching it. It's a horrible feeling.
Yeah.
I would say so.
Who are these fucking strangers?
Yeah. You can't have that on the front side of Grace.
No.
That's a back down side of
You're
Grace.
right.
So, yeah, that's what I mean. Oh, also, right after this, he has a son, Dwight Jr.
No, he didn't.
He absolutely
Why
did.
did you do that, Doc?
God damn it, Dwight.
I mean,
the parade's
fitting.
one thing, but I mean, missing a parade and naming your kid Junior, you have passed grace, sir.
And missing the parade for Cokes.
Sinking like a stone right now. This is
boy, it's
free
rapid.
fall. Yeah,
like
this is
blue one on the fucking Titanic.
It's just that sheer face in the Grand Canyon. That's the abyss there where you look down. It's just a sheer wall for 3 miles. He is going where you're looking down on an eagle flying, and you're like, whoa, it's high up here. So, and the Mets sort of make it worse too that season, because in the off season now he's obviously falling into if you miss anything, especially the fucking parade, which is kind of a big deal. Literally in New York, millions of people show up for those parades. It's not 100,000 people. I remember the Yankee parade in '96. There was 3 million people there.
Right,
that's a big parade.
That's the winner. When the Suns went to the and they lost.
Yeah,
you couldn't. Every street was flooded with people,
which is insane.
Hundreds of thousands of people for losers.
In New York, when you lose something, you get back. You wouldn't do a parade because you're like, they're going to throw shit at us. I know it.
Treat us like returning
like fucking
Vietnam
losers.
vets.
That's don't blame the vets.
You know what I mean?
Jesus, it's not their fault.
Well,
they were treated poorly.
Spit on.
They were treated poorly, is what you're saying. Yes, they're not going to be honored for their efforts at all, and that's how it goes. Whereas Phoenix, they're like, you guys tried.
Way to go.
Let's have a parade anyway. Like, what?
Isn't it beautiful outside?
It's not for them. It's for us. What?
We aren't going to get another one.
This is it. Let's fucking celebrate it now. We've never had a goddamn thing. So now, after the '86 season, the Mets noticed that their team has some issues with substance and partying. This is a wild bunch. I mean, we got Dykstra, Strawberry, Gooden, Keith Hernandez. Then you got Gary Carter, who's like Mitt Romney, basically. Like, he's not a Mormon, I don't think, but he's like Mr. Family Man, doesn't go out, doesn't party. Hey guys, come on now, let's calm it down. So they're all like, "Fuck you, Gary."
The rest of the locker room's an NA fucking meeting.
That's what it is, except it's for coke.
Right. It's to get it.
It's narcotic. It's NE, narcotics enthusiastic is what it's called. Going to my NE meeting. Yeah. Narcotics enthusiasts. So what they did is they said, all right, we think we understand what the problem is. We're going to get rid of a guy who we think stirs up the shit. Turns out it was the opposite of that. They get rid of Kevin Mitchell. You don't know Kevin Mitchell, the Giants player.
Fucker.
Yeah, great player. Hit 47 homers 1 year. Caught that ball barehanded. It's a famous highlight. Right. Mitchell came up hard. Mitchell's family is all in gangs.
I mean, he's seen hood shit.
Rod played with him. Rod Beck, my friend, played with Kevin Mitchell, and he said
at the Giants,
and he said Kevin Mitchell, great guy. He said that is he's a real motherfucker. Like all his family, they're all straight gangs, and that's all he knows. They're all gang people from San Diego. He says like Kevin Mitchell comes to everybody else comes all this shit to the ballpark. Kevin Mitchell comes to the ballpark with the back of his truck or the back of his car lower, than the rest of it. And what's in there? Oh, coins, because I just went to all my coin op laundries and fucking emptied them out.
No kidding.
He's like businessman like that.
Wow.
Like, I'll go get my own, and I don't even trust anybody. I go collect my own coins, then I go to the ballpark with fucking a trunk full of coins.
So my catalytic converter scraping as I come in.
That's the type of cat Kevin Mitchell was, though. But Kevin Mitchell was actually a good influence. They thought he was corrupting Strawberry and Gooden because they were like, oh, this ghetto motherfucker over here, all this gang shit, he's probably corrupting them. Meanwhile, he was just street smart and knew who the people to avoid. And Mitchell knew what he was about, and he wasn't going to let people take him in any direction because he came up knowing shit, whereas these two didn't. Especially Gooden. He came up very sheltered with this shit. So they thought he was corrupting him, and he wasn't. Davey Johnson, the manager, says, quote, it was a mistake. Mitch would have one or two drinks, but that's it. He was a good influence on them. He played hard. He had the street smarts they lacked. He could spot trouble and tell people to get lost.
Hell yeah.
They needed that. And
they should have kept him around a little more.
They should have. They needed him as like an older brother type of thing. Instead, they got rid of him, and then they were,
off the rails.
And Gooden said, quote, Davey's right. They should have never traded him. So
we needed him to keep these assholes.
Yeah, he kept him in check. Like, yo, motherfucker, don't trust him. That dude's a dirtbag. Right. And they'd be like, oh, all right, cool. And they would listen to him. They would listen to him. But then when he was gone, there's no influence saying that. Keith Hernandez is going, does he have blow? Can we go to his house? Are we going there? Or is he coming here? Or are we going there?
On Long Island? Let's go. I'm driving.
Hey, projects, here we come. So he started drinking a lot harder. After the season, he comes back to Tampa, hometown, returning hero.
Bad news.
Never, don't go home.
No.
So you've named your kid Junior. You've went home. 1 and 2 so far. And he breaks all the rules, boy. Later on, he's going to find Jesus. It's a mess.
Oh, good Lord.
It's a goddamn disaster. So he said. It's a doc-gam disaster.
Doc-damn.
No, doc-gam disaster. Doc-gam.
That's so hard to say.
It's doc-gam disaster. It really is. A doc-gam disaster. So, yeah, he said he would, he said at that point he had smoked a little weed, drank a lot, but now he's really into coke, though. He said he liked it. He loved doing it. He started doing it more often. He said, quote, my body started craving it more and more, and that's when it became a big issue for me. Like an addiction. Like an addict. How that works. It's weird. I kept doing it, and then my body wanted it more and more. It was this weird thing.
I would wake up, and I don't know how else to describe it, but
like
I craved it.
Wanting for it. My brain, it was telling me things. It was really weird. I don't know how to describe it, but strange, right?
Dare I call it a need?
He said it was like it was some kind of mystical thing. My body started craving it, like it was a woman. You know what I mean? Like, I tried to let her go, but my body was craving her, and I called her back. And
I needed her.
No, this is a chemical addiction, is what you have, sir. That's what that is. That there's a name for that body
craving.
Dare
I call it a dependency?
I don't know any other word for it, but, a need. Just a real...
desire.
You could call it a monkey upon my back. Like, what the fuck?
That's hysterical.
Jesus Christ. So
he's dumb.
He does some dumb
young.
shit.
That's what it is.
Too young, didn't have any real world experience before this.
Sheltered and right.
A guy like Kevin Mitchell, one thing, if you're raised tough like that, at least you, a lot of people, they have a harder time if they were raised badly, but sometimes they may have grown up before their time, type of thing, and they might be old for their age.
There is something to say for growing up too early, because you at least have a wherewithal and you see the world in a way of where predators are.
Yeah, you see a scumbag coke dealer that wants to take you to his house and make you miss a parade to extract money from you for hours while you smoke crack. You know who that guy is. And you're like, yeah, he's gonna.
I've seen that guy before.
Motherfucker's gonna make you miss the parade. I feel like he would have known that.
Yeah.
Yo, Doc,
fucking look at your watch.
You're never gonna Long Island traffic this time of day. Motherfucker, think about that shit. Fucking get back into the city. Man, come on now. You can't be riding the subway. You can get sworn.
You are the Grand Marshal.
God damn it,
Get on the float, Doc.
Jesus. So December 13th, 1986, 10:50 p.m. Whenever we say a time, it's never good. Doc Gooden and 6 people, 6 companions, friends of his, were on their way home in 3 different cars. 7 people, 3 cars, little caravan. Okay. They were attending the Florida and South Florida basketball game at the South Florida Sun Dome in Tampa.
Okay.
Yay.
Yuck.
Jesus. Now, Doc, is driving his 1984 silver Mercedes with Doc license plate.
Oh, you asshole.
Of course. Oh, he is.
God damn it.
Yeah. He's got a couple of friends with him. And then Gary Sheffield, whose name you might recognize from being one of the greatest hitters of all time. He's a guy, Gary Sheffield, quickly, that if it wasn't the whole steroid cloud and he had those numbers, he's a Hall of Famer.
Absolutely.
Period. And I don't even care about the home run totals. This guy's a power hitter that I think he only struck out 80 times twice as a power hitter. He was the most dangerous hitter in baseball. I always thought so anyway.
I won't say her name, but I know somebody that extorted him.
Nice. That's perfect.
And I don't think that she got away with it. She did one of those I'm on the pill things. You know what I mean? That's extortion.
Yeah,
that's legit extortion.
That's something.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is, but
I want to say there was a paternity test that came up. No,
this is all alleged. We don't know these things. This is all alleged.
I don't know for sure. I gave no names other than Gary Sheffield.
Which alleged? We don't know. He might have been talking about Fred McGriff. We have no idea. He's got them mixed up. So at this point, we can't even really pin it on Gary Sheffield. So allegedly,
a baseball player got extorted for one of those anchor
McGriff
babies.
or Sheffield anchor baby. That's the wrong term. Not the right terminology, Jimmie, at all.
You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. Other people like anchor baby. No,
to keep you
not
in
what
the
you're
life.
That's.
It's a different. I know what an anchor baby really is, but that's what it really is.
That's the real. Yeah, that's a better way.
That's a better anchor baby.
But it's never going to catch on. It's the problem. It's been tainted. It's like it's been paint thrown on it from it's been a victim of a PETA protest where you just tossed paint on it. Now it's covered. That's how it works. So
a bright red anchor baby.
Yeah. So Jesus Christ. So Sheffield, though, amazing hitter, and I won't talk too much about him because I think he'll probably might have his own episode.
Fantastic.
So I don't want to talk too much about him, but quickly on him, there's one of his managers said that he's probably the scariest hitter to face ever. Gary Sheffield, to describe him to you, he's a big, strong guy. Number one, he holds his bat in a way where it's like up and he's wagging it back and forth, like kind of bopping it back and forth using nothing but his wrists, which is insane because he uses a big bat too. It's really, really insane. And he can get around on an inside pitch like nobody in history is a right-hander. You can't throw him inside. Normally a right-hander, you can jam him up with an inside fastball. He can't get around on that. Lefties will crush that. Righties can't get around. Sheffield will pull it. I mean, he's got to watch out not to pull it foul, which is like insane. His manager said that he's the scariest guy. He said, quote, he could turn on a .38 caliber bullet.
Jesus.
So that's the type type of guy. Yeah. Rod Beck, my friend, he was on a team with Roberto Hernandez, and Gary Sheffield was coming up, and Roberto Hernandez was about to go into the game. If you don't know who he is, he's a reliever that threw 101 miles an hour. Legit, Roberto Hernandez. He's a fireballer. So Rod was just talking to him about what he's going to do. He said, Chef's coming up and blah, blah, blah. And he goes, yeah, just, stay away from inside. And Roberto Hernandez is like, fuck that, I'll bust him inside. And he's like, no, you won't. He'll fucking turn on that shit. He's like, I throw 100 miles an hour. He ain't turning on shit. And he's like, all right, well, fucking try it then. So he goes, second pitch, he's like, he only hit it about 430 feet. So, I mean,
didn't turn on it too hard.
He didn't get it too bad, but he said he didn't say a word when he came back. He was just like, man, it's a good pitch on Chef there. Nice work. Good job, dickhead.
Yeah.
You can't get anything. What I'm saying is no matter how hard you throw, he'd hit it. So.
Did Sheffield end up retiring very comfortably, or did they? Oh, yeah. Was he ruined?
No, he was good, man. Fine? Yeah, he did fine. Good. He played for the Yankees for a long time, and he ended up really extending his career a long time and doing a really good job.
Padres he had for a long time?
Yeah. Great fucking arm on him from the outfield, too.
He did. Yeah.
He was a former shortstop, third baseman that switched to right field. Right. I mean, he had a cannon for an arm, too, which was great.
And he played for the Padres after the jersey change.
Yeah. After that Brown. They got rid of that, which Ray Kroc owned the team. Yeah. Of course, it's going to be McDonald's.
It's still cool.
It's different. Filthy. That mustard. It's very 70s.
It's filthy.
It looks like a 70s McDonald's interior.
Yeah.
So Sheffield is driving a red Corvette. He's just been drafted. He's a high school standout who's just been drafted, so he took his signing bonus and bought a Corvette, as kids do when they're 18 years old. He's driving a Corvette who's with a male passenger in the passenger seat here. There's a third car here driven by another guy who had another run with him. So Doc's got 3 people in his car. 2 and 2 equals 7. So now this is kind of a piecing together of accounts of many different people, police reports, Doc's version, everything kind of whatever into a probably would happen type of scenario.
Take a little from their side, a little from Doc's side, sprinkle it together.
That's what
probably the truth.
Kind of the report, because the FBI gets this gets
what?
deep. NAACP gets involved in this.
Boy.
The FBI. If there's a group that has letters, they're looking into a late night traffic stop between Doc Gooden. So, I guess Sheffield's driving ahead. Gooden's in the second position. The other car's in the back. He makes a left turn, the back car. They all turn in single file. Apparently, there was a police officer who spots the little caravan here. I don't know why that's a bad thing, but he gets behind the 3 cars and pulls them and turns the dome light on, drives up alongside Doc Gooden and signals for Doc to pull over. Yeah. He also tries to get Gary Sheffield to stop in the front car, but Sheffield takes off.
Well, yeah.
Because, whatever. So the cop radios for assistance and pulls next to Gooden's car on the side of the road. Now, He said that basically the cop said that he ordered the cars to pull over because they were weaving in and out of traffic and changing lanes, quote, relating to each other. They were fucking around.
Yeah.
It's 18 to 22-year-old kids that have Mercedes and Corvettes who are driving through town feeling themselves.
A World Series champion.
So I mean, man, they're feeling they're driving, weaving in between lanes.
Sure.
Can't drive like that. It's stupid, obviously, but kids do that shit, especially if they're really rich and happy.
A star.
And happy. That's the thing. They're probably just like, yay, as they're doing it. My life is so good. Left lane. No directional. Just fucking yay. So, yeah, they called it a reckless joint maneuver, saying they were dicking around together. And, Jesus Christ. So the back car had not been ordered to stop, but he pulled over anyway, also to stay with the group here. And, then Sheffield returns back and stops. So he legitimately didn't know what was going on. And then he came back and was like, oh shit, I guess I got to go back there. Okay. So, after Dwight pulls over, Dwight gets out of the car, and the cop says that Dwight begins using profane language and accusing him of harassment and saying he's not going to hand over his license. Now, the police officer says that Doc wouldn't calm down, quote, even when his friends advised him to. He was like, no, fuck that shit. There's no reason to bother me. That's what the cop says. So he said, the police officer says that fighting began with Doc when basically, the police officer walked away. Doc followed him, and he says that Doc was, quote, raising his hands in a menacing gesture, which is we've heard that a few times. Yeah. So he said, the officer says that he turned, put up his own hand to, quote, ward off Mr. Gooden, and he said the pitcher then pushed the officer's hand away, quote, using profanity to tell the officer not to touch him.
Yeah.
So that's the officer's
hands off me, motherfucker.
Yeah, fuck off me.
Yeah.
So now, according to Doc here, his lawyer, he says Doc got out of the car and asked the officer why he'd been stopped.
Yeah.
So it's basically a matter of attitude, is what they're both saying. Either way, he got out and he either said, "Motherfucker, why'd you pull me over?" Right. He said, "Officer, why I don't understand the disturbance." Either way, it's the same thing.
There's a confrontation based on why are you messing with me, right?
I mean, no offense. I mean, don't be a dick to cops, but I mean, they're not.
Also, cops don't be dicks to people.
Yeah, they're not delicate flowers.
No.
Whether it's why the fuck did you pull me over, or, sir, why'd you pull me? It's still the same thing. I mean, it's
still a question. Right.
Still a legitimate question.
So
their manners are shitty.
And you hold the burden of answering
That's the thing.
And
this is all on you.
Right.
Because it was your idea to pull over.
Right.
None of us wanted to pull over.
Right. We were doing fine.
We were fine.
You turned the lights on, told us to pull over.
So here we
I
are.
got an attitude about it. You get to apologize
it's on
to
you
me
now at this
and
point,
tell me
Chief.
what you need. Yeah. Let's have a chat, and I can have the attitude.
Or
not
what I do
you.
wrong.
Right.
Let's say that. So he says that he asked him why he'd been stopped, and he says that the officer told him to shut up. And the attorney says that it was downhill from there. At that point, they said many officers came. Basically, they say it took 6 police officers to subdue Gooden and his companions. In the end, though, that's what the police say. In the end, though, it turns out there's 22 officers involved in this melee.
Holy shit.
So turns out there's 22 people, and it ends up being a giant, basically ass kicking on them. And so it's from whichever side you want to say. Doc and Sheffield and that side say the cops pulled us over, beat the shit out of us. And the cops say we pulled them over and they started a riot with 25 cops, 22 cops. And so, they heard us, they were attacking us and we had to defend ourselves. So it's a he said, she said on this type of thing. Or he said, they said, they said, a
lot of
that's what it is.
There are 30 people involved in this.
There's a lot of, that's a lot of A's getting involved of every stripe and manner and everything, and who the hell knows. So, that's what the police say. Now, there's a woman there who says that she and 2 of her companions saw the end of the fight and said that the police had beaten Doc with nightsticks and flashlights before handcuffing his hands behind his back and putting him in shackles, which is probably unnecessary for a Cy Young Award winner who's not physically attacking anybody.
And if you're hitting his arms too, that's fucked up.
That's the other thing we're going to get into here. Now, Gooden's attorney says that, and there's other witnesses also that accuse the police of using excessive force and then piling on charges to cover their excesses, which is what they accuse cops of all the time in beatings.
They do.
So, he notes that there was 5 of the 7 men were arrested of Doc's party there. So they're saying that all of the 6 that jumped on Doc, it's also a racial issue in Tampa. Tampa. Now I don't know about it, but back in the 70s and 60s, 70s, 80s, it was a hotbed of racial issues, Tampa. It was. Tampa's a 25% back then black population. They had 9% of the police force was black. So there was a big thing where
that's weird.
The black population was very untrustworthy of the police force, and for good reason, because for years it was a real shady shit that went on down there. It's the fucking Tampa's the South.
It really
is. And now it's a little different, but back then, it was the South.
This is
That's
before
it.
Trick Daddy.
Yeah. Well, this is before, I don't even know what the fuck. Before they had a hockey team and turned it into hey, we're going to make this a city that old people retire to.
Make this fun.
It was the South back then, and it was fucking weird.
It was a port town too. It's the grimiest.
Pirates and whores. Jimmy. That's what we said about Tampa.
Yeah.
Pirates and whores.
Fucking
and
pirate
roosters.
town. Yeah.
That's all it is. It's a fucking mess.
It's a pirate ship on the beach. That's what it is.
So you have 6 white cops, 5 black, people that whatever they pulled over.
Yeah.
So it's it's a different thing. There's people on both sides here. And the attorney for Doc says that, quote, there was reason to believe that racism was involved, saying it was kind of what the Tampa police did at that point in time. This is, a long time ago. Police spokesman said that they don't respond to such accusations. They just said they don't say whether the cops specifically used nightsticks and flashlights. They will only say they used, quote, whatever force was necessary to restrain a resisting defendant. That's all they would say they used. They wouldn't say what they did. Gooden was subjected to, not anybody else, but Gooden was at the hospital, was subjected to an alcohol blood test, even though they didn't think he was under the influence at the scene. That wasn't the issue, but they still did that. Now, so they're going to go over the whole thing. Gooden's going to be charged with all sorts of shit, resisting and battery on police officers and everything like that. Now, the Mets spokesman says, quote, Dwight was pretty well beaten up after this whole thing. He has bruises on his head, a bloodshot eye, and cuts on his arm. So he got his ass kicked pretty good here. One of the cops involved in it was heard by a witness to say, quote, break his arm while they were doing all this. So that's what we're talking about here, with accusations anyway. That's in the prosecutor file too. That's from one of the prosecutor's witnesses that they heard. So that's not great for the cops there, to say, let's specifically break a Cy Young Award winner's arm. Probably not the best look.
They know exactly who this is and exactly what is worth what to him.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So it's whatever. So the Gooden ends up with this whole thing. We'll talk about it later on. He'll plead no contest to some shit, but not after it gets super weird here. They also say that in the file that after the arm breaking threat, it says that the officers laughed at Gooden while he was lying and handcuffed and battered on the ground. That's in there also. He said that Doc told the cop, quote, I don't know what I did. They never told me what they stopped me for. It never even got to that point.
That shit's illegal.
Basically, before they got to that point, it just went to beating time. So they said that he's at his parents' house resting, and they said he's going to have charges of battery on a police officer, violently resisting arrest, which are third-degree felonies, carry maximum penalties of 5 years in prison and a bunch of fines. He's also charged with disorderly conduct and careless driving. So there's that, which can carry a $30 fine, Jimmy. So 5 years in prison or a $30 fine. Or. So that's the 13th of December. Now, the 16th of December, the Tampa NAACP gets involved, seeking a federal probe of the Tampa Police Department over the whole Doc Gooden thing. They say that their quote is that, quote, we sent a telegram to Edwin Meese requesting the Justice Department investigate the possible violation of Dwight Gooden's civil rights. Here, they said it relates to Dwight and the 4 other young men who were involved, and we're going to ask the Justice Department to look into other cases, 4 in all, which may or may not point to a pattern of this. So they're asking for that. So that's coming out. We get into a war of the press. This comes out. We want a federal probe. So the next day, somehow the police get the hospital. Somehow they get the Gooden's blood tests revealed publicly, which is not okay. No. It wasn't all right. So
what about HIPAA?
Hospital, this is the thing. He'll end up suing for this later, as we'll talk about. But they give him they reveal that the blood test, he had a blood alcohol level of 0.111, which at the time 0.10 was the limit in Florida, which is, that's a morning baseline in Florida, though, really. I mean, if we think about it.
That's breakfast mimosas.
People get to that before they leave the house, I feel like, down there. Just to cope with the roosters, if nothing else. Pirates and whores. So,
Hulk Hogan's menace.
And Hulk Hogan and whatever he's doing down there, and his kids.
Yeah.
They could be driving near you. Who
Jesus.
knows? Hey, everybody. Just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about The Athletic.
TheAthletic.com?
That's right. The Athletic. This is really good stuff, too. The Athletic is a subscription-based publisher of smarter sports coverage for diehard fans. Okay. This is the thing. If you're someone that's really into the stuff, or if you're someone like me that's looking for inside information or just better stories that are a little more in-depth.
Probably help you with your fantasy team, too.
That's the thing. That's what this is all about, The Athletic. Whether it's just news you want or fantasy things or anything like that, The Athletic is here for you. you. The model is really simple. No ads, no pop-ups, no autoplay videos. Coverage goes beyond game recaps to provide smarter analysis and deeper perspective about the teams and the leagues. Subscribers have full access to all national and local college football coverage, plus stories, podcasts, and videos from all sports. It's all courtesy of their team of talented writers, which include a lot of people here: Pierre LeBrun, James Myrtle, Corey Pronman, Jay Glazer, I know who he is, Mike Sando, Stuart Mandel, Bruce Feldman, Ken Rosenthal, Jason Stark, David Aldridge, Shams Charnier, Sam Amarick, Seth Davis. A lot of good people here. These are people that know their sports. This is good. This is like for your real sports, and you want that good stuff. You're not looking for the basic, overview, quick thing that you'd hear on the
stats.
Quick stats and a quick, Aaron Rodgers was 21, whatever. Who cares about that stuff? Right. You want deeper stuff, analysis, things that are going to help you, like you said, in fantasy or just in what you're interested in. You can do it all. Just subscribe to The Athletic today. Go to theathletic.com/crime for 40% off a yearly subscription. That's awesome. That comes out to about $2.99 a month, only at theathletic.com/crime.
And now back to the show.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit more about Harry's.
Oh, Harry's.com.
You know it, Jimmy. Humans have been shaving for thousands of years. We've always been growing hair. Why not? But the secret to a great shave has not changed much. That's why Harry's doesn't overcharge you to just add gimmicky features to the razors that you don't need. Lubricating things squirting out of the razors.
Vibrating heads?
You don't need any of this stuff. The Harry's razors are unbelievable. They give you a clean, close shave. They cut down on ingrown hairs. That's really a big thing. They help so much for that. And not just for men. My wife uses them. My daughter uses the Harry's. I give them to everybody. They use them. Their women love the Harry's just as much as guys do. They're fantastic. Harry's is basically, they return to the essential. Quality, durable blades at a fair price. Break it down to what you need. Like $2 a blade. That's what kind of fair price we're talking about
now
here.
We're talking.
They've cut out the middleman. They manufacture their blades in a German blade factory, which has been making precision blades for over a century. This is what we're talking about. Quality, that's all you need. The real good stuff. That means you get incredibly high quality blades at factory direct prices. This is insanity. You need Harry's. There's no risk to trying them out. If you don't love your shave, let them know and they'll give you a full refund. That's the kind of company we're dealing with here. Harry's are good people that make great razors, and listeners of our show can redeem their Harry's trial set at harrys.com/crimeinsports. What do you get with that? You get a weighted ergonomic handle for a firm grip, 5-blade razor with lubricating strip and trimmer blade, rich lathering gel with aloe to keep your skin hydrated. So nice too. And a travel blade cover to keep your razor dry and easy to grab on the go. Just go to harrys.com/crimeinsports to start shaving better today.
And now back to the show.
So, yes, but he wasn't charged with any offense connected to drinking. They didn't charge him with drunken driving or anything like that. So it's very, very odd here. The blood test, the result was seen by a New York Times reporter at the end of an internal police memorandum. That's how this got released. So the police leaked it basically to the Times. They did it on purpose.
Saying they did it on accident.
They 100%
for sure threw in. By the way, he was drunk.
It was at the end of a report that they let a reporter look at. So yeah, they knew what they were doing, because the day before it's all this public, that they're racist, they're beating the shit out of people, and then they go up, well, he's a drunk. That's what it was. So it's definitely a PR war here, is what it is here. They said that they wouldn't confirm the release of the results to the Times because that would be a breach of confidence. They shouldn't have been accessible to. There wasn't a blood test taken by the police. It was a blood test taken by the hospital to look over his medical injuries.
Got it.
That's what it was. It wasn't a blood test for the cops.
Cops can't leak
So they're saying that's not even your blood test. That's his private medical information that you can't release without some sort of court order or something like that. So, it's a mess. Basically, later on, they also find out that they're in this same article. The police also say that they've now learned that Gooden was a member of a group that had been, quote, asked to calm down at a restaurant about an hour before that.
So that's worthy of beating the shit out of them.
So they're saying, hey, they were out there getting all fucking rowdy all over the,
told them to calm down.
18 to 21-year-old kids with a bunch of money that are happy with their lives.
Yeah.
I mean,
we told them to calm down an hour ago.
So, beat the shit out of them in the street and ruin their careers. And it was a Chili's.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, it was a goddamn Chili's.
Chili's in Tampa.
Yeah, and they asked the guy, the Chili's manager, Chris Sullivan, who was a Chili's, managed a Chili's in Tampa in 1986. He said, quote, Dwight Gooden wasn't in any trouble or causing any trouble. He says people in his party were just having fun. A couple of people in the party were asked to calm down, but there was not any gross intoxication. Right. They were just having a good time.
A couple too many jalapeno poppers.
That's it. You know how it gets over there.
If you can't get wild at Chili's, where can you get wild?
I mean, Jesus Christ, when those nachos start flying, those big bite burgers start happening,
fajitas.
I can't fucking control myself, bro. I can't. When I get a potato skin in front of me, for love of Christ.
Their fajitas are bullshit too. There's 3 pieces
garbage
of meat and it's all peppers and onions. That's not a fucking fajita.
It's like an 80s airplane fajita.
Yeah.
Like they give it to you. We made you a fajita.
Stop pronouncing the J, Karen.
We made them for you. It's real nice here up on Pan Am.
Up here on Pan Am in the friendly skies.
Here on TWA. So, Gooden
Do you
answer.
like my bonnet?
Do you like it? Gooden answers, quote, I wasn't drunk. I really can't say anything else. So, the paper also reports they found the restaurant records. This is how deep they got into this.
They found his receipts.
They found his receipts in the rent that's to show that Gooden purchased 2 rounds of 7 drinks for all 7 people at 25 minutes apart. Okay. They had a drink. Half hour later, they had another drink.
Right.
Not real bomb.
2 drinks in an hour.
That's at one of their.
That ain't shit.
No, not for, he's a 200-pound guy.
No.
So, his agent said that, obviously Gooden had a couple of beers. That's what he alleges to have had. Like he says he had a couple beers. That's not the fucking point. Mm-hmm. So, Sheffield is also arrested. He is a recent first-round draft choice of the Brewers at this point. And then, a couple of former high school teammates of Gooden that were there. So, February 20th, 1987. More comes out here in this report here. A report comes out. The report showed no evidence of any planned or intentional brutality. This is an internal report, obviously.
By the police.
By the police. Yeah. Gooden ends up pleading no contest to 3rd-degree felony charges of battery on a police officer and resisting arrest with violence. And he is sentenced to 3 years probation and 160 hours of community service. The report does say Gooden, quote, was, quote, undoubtedly struck several times by various officers with fists, knees, flashlights, and nightsticks.
God,
which seems excessive unless he's really trying to throw down. Now, eventually, he ends up pleading no contest. This is all fucking crazy. Yeah. NAACP, the FBI did a probe. This is it's crazy, but not nearly as crazy as the sales, Jimmy. Oh, the sales! If you happen to be in the Tampa area in 1986, do we have some sales for you? Holy shit. Jimmy, you're going to want to head on down to your local Tampa Dodge dealership as quickly as possible. Brand new 1986 Dodge Dakotas, $6,434. Allowed 2 weeks for delivery. Now we have a Dodge Ram half-ton, $7,987, or a little Dodge pickup, the little tiny fucker there, $5,979.
$5,000
for a car,
truck,
for a whole car,
a pickup truck,
engine trucks, and everything.
Pickup trucks are $50,000 today.
Oh God, $6,000 back then.
Talking about between 5 and 7. Take your pick.
Go on down there. Also, head down to the liquor store here, French West Liquor, where 24-pack of Busch cans are only $8.49.
They haven't changed a bit.
24
Same price today.
Fuck yeah. 24-pack of Natural Light cans, only $6.99.
Same.
You can get shit-faced. A bottle of Bacardi rum for $5.99. Holy shit. And finally, head on down to Bayless Electronics, where you can get an RCA Pro Wonder camcorder for only $999. uses standard VHS cassettes in this bitch.
You had to buy cassettes for that thing.
A straight VHS tape. It was a VCR with a lens that you put on your shoulder.
Today you can buy a camcorder for $300, no tapes.
Oh, it's amazing. You could film fucking
SD
Game of
card.
Thrones on it, and people would think it was perfect. Like
$300.
$300. $9.99, and this looks like complete dog shit.
Fuck yeah.
This is the video of like early America's Funniest Home Videos.
Yeah.
Everyone got hit in the nuts on this camcorder.
Put that fucking thing on your shoulder.
This is the nut popper camcorder right there. Yeah, big battery.
Dear Christ,
pack.
if you don't put your hand through that little pad, and if that falls, it will fucking kill your children.
Oh God, yeah, it will. Hold on to it,
Take out
Dad.
the family.
So in case of that, go there. Now, the FBI opens a probe into the circumstances surrounding this arrest right after this. The spokeswoman for them says it's a preliminary investigation. She says the Tampa FBI office has begun the investigation on their own, not at the direction of the Justice Department. Their findings, however, will be reviewed by Washington. Okay. So now the FBI is involved in whether the police department investigated this or they just put a fucking rubber stamp on it. Wow. So I mean, this is getting getting fucking deep for a traffic stop.
Sure.
It's now gone literally NAACP. The FBI is going to Washington's asking what's going on. It's fucking crazy. It's not as crazy though as 79 cents for a quart of Valvoline oil. Down at the auto parts store, or $2.69 for Fram oil filters.
Oh,
also,
how about that,
guys? Get your shit together. Get back to Tampa.
Inflation has really changed those prices too.
I would say
you can't do that shit on your own at home for less than probably $30 now.
Oh, back then it was 79. So you get 5 quarts of that times 80 cents. That's nothing there.
Nothing.
So basically, $7 with tax out the door. You could
change your oil.
You could change your oil back then. Not anymore. So 1987 comes around. It's been an eventful off season for Doc, to say the least. Here, 87 comes around. Spring training. You should just recede into baseball now and just forget about it all. Only he tests positive for cocaine in spring training, so not quite.
In spring training, yeah. Down in Tampa.
Probably his first test of the season.
Right.
He's like, I'm here.
How about that,
Never
too?
mind.
Going down to Florida for spring training.
Oh, yeah. Port St. Lucie is
that's horrible.
Yeah, that's where it's home.
Yeah.
He's just always home.
Not a good place to be.
In Tampa is known as the 6th borough anyway. So if you're a New York star, it's Tampa. It's all
your friends are there.
It's like an extended.
Even more so.
It's so weird. It's like a gerrymandered neighborhood.
Right.
Like there's
the guy from Long Island is showing up in the clubhouse.
Yeah, there's New York and like a thin line down to Tampa, but they're in the same like voting district. Yeah. It's really weird here. So he goes to rehab in April. So that's how you want to start your season in rehab. So the 87 Mets go 92-70. They are second in the NL East. They do not make the playoffs. Doc goes 15-7, 3.21 ERA. It's the highest of his career, but still pretty goddamn respectable. 179 innings and 148 strikeouts. Only pitches 25 games because of his rehab stint. He is 5th in Cy Young voting still, though.
Really?
So, I mean, he's pretty dominant. Makes $1.5 million this year, which is not bad. Now, after the season, he is in a paternity action suit with his ex here over Dwight Jr. He's an infant. Monica Harris is her name, the mother of his child. She makes $3.25 an hour as a clerk for Kelly Services, and he makes $1.32 million for the Mets. Yeah. So it's a definite different thing, and he agrees to pay her $125 a week. So $600 a month.
What a deal.
Wow, he makes Jesus Christ.
How did he manage that?
I mean, maybe to her that sounded like a lot. Yeah. I don't know.
How broke is she?
That's $3.25 an hour she makes. That was minimum wage.
Yeah, but I mean, how broke is she? You know what I mean? Like
fucking
how much,
broke.
Yeah.
$3.25 an hour.
And how much? $600
a month? I mean, that's more than she made probably.
I guess.
So that's brutal though, man.
He just gave her a new income.
Yeah, I would say so. So he ends up. The weird thing is they fight for that, and then in November of 1987 they get married.
What?
So
what's he doing?
I don't know. He's like, it's cheaper to marry her. I don't know what his plan is. He's
you
like,
dummy.
I don't know. She's all right. He marries her. Then 4 days later, he files to obtain custody of his son.
Oh, that's what it is.
So it's.
He
married her to get custody, I guess.
He agreed to pay her $600 a month, then he married her to try to fucking...
Now he's going to get alimony, too.
Yeah.
No, you're screwing yourself worse. You could have just got over. So I don't know what he's doing. So she ends up firing back here, has some court papers describing that he has, quote, problems with alcohol and drug abuse. So now it's like kind of public there.
You idiot.
They talk about his arrest. So she ends up retaining custody of Gooden Jr. And a year later, Doc in 88 agrees to increase support to $1,000 a month. You're a fucking prince, Doc.
What a sweetheart.
You're a real sweetheart. So October 2nd, 1987, the Tampa police are suing Dwight Gooden.
Why?
Because he said they were racist. He, quote, injured them, and these cops are suing as individuals, not the police department. The cops themselves from the arrest.
Defamation.
3 Tampa police officers are suing him. They're suing, it's a personal injury lawsuit. They're claiming assault, battery, negligence, and defamation of character.
Yeah.
Their lawyer says, quote, they were injured both physically and emotionally. Imagine if cops sued every person who emotionally injured them. You would sue
how many homeless people did you stop last night that spit on you?
45 people per shift would you would never stop. Your lawyers would be like, we can't handle the paperwork.
You
only sue the millionaires, though.
You better not be a fucking police officer if you're that fragile.
That's
figure it the fuck out. You're dealing with some of the most difficult people to deal with on the planet.
Now, you should never assault a police officer.
Never.
That's one thing. Never. Fucking. No. That's not okay, and that's not okay. First of all. Second of all, that's part of your job, though, is that sometimes people do assault you.
You gotta understand.
You can't sue them.
Right.
You're not. You're going out and looking for it. Right. So by the nature of it, you can't really. It's kind of
you're kind of kicking the bee's nest, fellas.
Yeah, because I never have incidents with drunk people that I have to pull out of the car. I don't interact with them. I get that's your job, and you do it, and no one should fuck with you for it. Yes, that's an absolute fact.
But you got to understand that that's the people that
it's going to happen sometimes. Yeah. It's going to happen. Yeah. So
that's part of the job.
You should probably sue for that. They said the press accounts were pretty much one-sided in favor of Dwight Gooden, and they took that very hard. The police did. They received a lot of pressure from it on their jobs from their family and friends. And his Doc's lawyer said, quote, he's definitely got nothing to say. I've got nothing to say. The lawyers have got nothing to say. And that was that. So they said that the Doc's lawyer also says that they would welcome an opportunity to find out what really happened here in open court. So, hey, you want to bring it to court and talk about it? They're saying, great. So the police chief said that, quote, an individual police officer has a right to file a lawsuit. So, I mean, that's their right legally. Yeah, but I mean, logically, not. So, what do you do when things go slightly awry? That's when you get married to Monica Harris that we're talking about here. November 21st, 87, he gets married. Jeez. Rule 3, broken. Don't get married when things are going bad. In front of 600 guests at a Baptist church.
Jesus.
So that shit was real. He wasn't, that wasn't no play acting. He
was for real today. 600 people showed up.
600 people.
My God.
It's where he grew up. It's in Tampa. Now, December 9th, 1987, Police Advisory Group resumes meeting. This is a Citizens Advisory Committee formed to review police incidents, spurred on by the Doc Gooden incident to have some, citizen overview on the police department and that sort of shit. So they fire that up, citing Doc Gooden. Now, 1988, May 23rd, 1988, Doc is suing the cops from the incident individually as well. So now they're going to sue each other.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, he's also going to sue the hospital for letting his blood test results leak out.
And he's going to win that one.
That one he's going to win too. Yeah,
that's a slam dunk.
That's an open and shut. They settle on that. They don't even go to court on that. They're like, let's just give him money.
We definitely fucked up.
Especially what he does with it's pretty nice, actually. 1988, the Mets go 160. So, not bad. First place, this is the year they lose to the Dodgers. This was that Kurt Gibson home run magic. You weren't beating the Dodgers that year. They had magic up their ass.
Yeah.
It was one of those things. So, they lose in 7 games in the NLCS, though. I mean, a fucking heartbreaker. Yeah. Doc goes 18-9, bit of a comeback season here with the wins. 3.19 ERA, 34 games, 248.1 innings, which is a horse nowadays. 175 strikeouts, though. Strikeouts down a little bit, but walks only 57. Not bad.
He's got a little bit on his mind.
He's got a little on his mind. He's an all-star this year still, though. He's kind of back doing what he's doing. August 1988. 1988. Now, Sheffield at this point this is in 88, he comes up to the majors. So he was a quick bring up too. He goes to the Brewers, and he says that when he showed up at the Brewers, he assumed that the Brewers assumed that he was using drugs, basically, because he's from Tampa and hung out with Doc Gooden. Okay. So they're like, he's his nephew. They're like, oh, you use drugs too. He said, I wanted to make it clear that I don't never do drugs. I don't care what the pressure's like. But he says that they treated him well up there. They told him, quote, they just told me to lay low and do a lot of things behind closed doors. If I want to have a drink or two, have them in the house. Make sure I leave early enough to get where I want to go instead of speeding or something. They just wanted me to stay out of the papers and keep the publicity down. They're like, dude, this is Milwaukee. Yeah. So
it's easy to get in the paper here.
You go. Yeah. Basically, if you make a real good cheese, that's all week. You're the talk of the town. That's all we're going to talk about in the paper. So if you're a pro athlete that gets in any trouble, it's going to be really huge news.
Sure.
Bart Starr farted on a bus one time. They're still talking about it. Understand? That's how this works. Right.
You're one of 30 black guys in this entire state.
That's all we have.
Stand out.
So we're going to, the University of Wisconsin's they have a few, but outside of Madison, it's
stand out. Don't fuck up here.
That's it. It's you and, what year is this? You and Reggie White. No, not yet. No, not till 95.
Getting
He's
close.
Still in Philly. But you and Tim Harris. There you go. That was
I don't even know him.
Defensive tackle for the Packers.
Okay.
There you go. So anyway, so they told him to, look, there's a lot of eyes on you. You're Doc Gooden's nephew, whatever. So Sheffield ends up moving in with Gooden in St. Petersburg.
Really?
Yeah, his house.
For spring training.
Gooden moves from Tampa to St. Petersburg. That's his way of getting out of it.
Really?
They go, listen, Doc, you should really move out of your hometown.
Tampa to St. Pete?
I'll move to St. Pete, which is the same thing.
25 minutes
It's not
north.
far at all, yeah.
Clearwater full, sir? What are you doing?
What are you doing?
Jackass.
So,
it's still in Pinellas County,
it's
I think.
the same. It's Tampa, St. Pete. Yeah. It's like Dallas, Fort Worth. It's
didn't even change counties.
It's part of the area. Fucking asinine. So Gooden buys a house for himself and his wife and his son and his parents to live in, and he buys the house next door for Gary Sheffield and his parents to live in. So that's how it works here. This is to basically, they say this is to put some distance between them and Tampa, which is insane. Now, wow.
I moved out to Peoria, James, to put some distance between me and Scottsdale.
You and Scottsdale. It's tough.
It's literally 11 minutes.
So stupid. So he made $1.4 million this year. He actually lost in arbitration. He was looking for $1.65 million in arbitration, and they gave him $1.4 in arbitration. So November 1988, he's on probation from the incident with the police officers. He's trying to get his probation reduced. Now, the judge says, quote, I know you've moved to St. Pete, but I hope you won't abandon this community about Tampa. We have a great number of children here that need a role model like you. No.
Not my problem.
No. Also.
No. Not that guy.
No.
You picked the wrong one.
Jesus Christ. Are you kidding me? He says, quote, I tried to do all that was asked of me while on probation. His attorneys say that, what he's done. They said his lawyer said he's been an exemplary probationer. He's done almost double the community service hours. He's donated more than $30,000 to charity in Hillsborough and Pinellas counties and around the country. He said he'd donate $1,000 to all children's hospital for each game he won this year, and so far he's won 18.
Oh,
so
18 G's.
So they're saying he's going to do all this shit. The state attorney said that they won't take a position either way. They're saying they'll let it be between the judge and the lawyer, and that's fine. So they're not going to say, hey, interfere in the whole thing. He said, I'm of the opinion that this is a matter of between Mr. Gooden and the court. So they end up that they're going to do that. They're going to end up reducing his probation. He says, I just got to continue to work with kids and try to help them out the right way. That's all. He's Mr. Kids now. It's all about the kids, Jimmie.
Oh, it's terrible.
Jimmie, he's good now.
No.
He's good.
Okay.
He's fine. He's good now. All right. We haven't heard of him since 89. He's fine. 1989, April 15th, Doc sues the hospital for releasing his blood test records publicly. He wins the case. Yeah. But in the case, he agrees to donate back the money that he won to the hospital to care for emotionally disturbed children.
That's cool.
So that was cool. He doesn't take the money that they weigh. It was like $17,000 or something. It wasn't anything big or whatever, but he
prescriptions for a week.
Yeah, he donates it back to the hospital, so he doesn't look like a dick for suing the hospital. But he should have sued the hospital. He can't be releasing people's blood tests publicly. So that year, 89 for the Mets, he goes 9-4 with a 2.89 ERA, 118 innings pitched, 101 strikeouts. So not wonderful. He has an arm injury, a shoulder muscle tear or something late in the season. Only pitches in 19 games, so that's how that works. But he does make $2,416,667 this year.
That's not bad.
So quite the haul. 1990, March 14th, Tampa, Florida, 3 a.m.
Oh, boy.
Roosters everywhere. Yeah. Just the pirates, whores, and roosters are wandering the streets, okay? There is an incident at 3 a.m. Never good. We always say this, and no matter how not at fault you are, if you're out, like, partying at 3 a.m., no matter what happens to you, you're like 50% at fault.
You're
because
you
know that there's a lot of shit to get into.
You
even
co-signed this behavior.
No matter how innocent you are. Right. You could be completely innocent. This is up to, but not including sexual assaults.
Right.
At that point. That's another level of whatever. But if I'm talking you get in any trouble, you fucking, get in a fight with people or something, your fault. Sorry, shouldn't be out with these idiots. No. But yeah, we shouldn't be fucking each other against each other's wills. I think that's where we can draw the line of behavior of whatever. So this is 3 a.m. outside Grace's Place, which is a nightclub in Tampa here. Now, Gary Sheffield is involved in this as well.
Jesus,
he's hanging out with Doc. He says that he was with a male friend when he was stopped by the police, or he was stopped by the police walking out of the club.
Yeah.
He said, this is Sheffield's quote, "I said, I'm Gary Sheffield. I'm a professional ball player." He said, they said, "I don't care who you are. You're driving a dope dealer's car." And then they threw me up against the car. So basically, they treated him like he was a drug dealer because he had a drug dealer car.
Okay, so it's not that it was somebody else's car registered in their name and they're a known dope dealer.
No.
He has a black Mercedes.
He has a fucking, a hot car, and never mind that he makes millions of dollars a year because he's a star ball player by this point. He's a fucking all-star by 1990. So, that sort of thing. They just go, you're black and you got a nice car up against it. So that's how that works. They said that a bunch of witnesses said that the officers were trying to provoke Sheffield.
Yep.
And Tampa police, they said that they thought they were stopping a different man, a man suspected of dealing 6 kilograms of cocaine, but they say they wouldn't go any farther into that. They just said they thought that it was a different person.
Yeesh.
Now,
that doesn't bode well for that whole racist part of the lookalike thing.
That's the thing. This leads to, within the next week, there is the Tampa night squad, they called it, that was a West Tampa patrol that went around looking for shit, was abruptly disbanded. Basically, they were like, stop fucking with people.
Right.
You're fucking getting us in trouble here. Now, Gooden was there too. He said he heard about the ruckus in the parking lot, and he left the bar, went 100 feet into the parking lot, where he saw a cop holding a gun on Gary Sheffield.
Oh, boy.
So he said, now the bartender here, who witnessed the thing, said that 2 cop cars came up. They blocked Sheffield's black Mercedes as it was leaving the parking lot.
I knew it.
You knew it. Knew it. They came out with their guns drawn on him. They said it looked like they were going to fire on the car. They got out like, this is the guy we've been looking for.
Yeah.
Finally found him.
Right.
Here he is. And he's like, holy shit, what's going on?
Don't you guys write down license plate numbers?
Fuck, man.
It says chef on the plate.
Right? Jesus. God damn it. So Gooden here, he leaves and comes running over. The bartender says Gooden was visibly upset, and an off-duty officer who worked at the bar doing security tried to calm him down. He says, quote, "The cops were screaming and yelling at Gooden. He was just standing there. That's what they wanted him to do. Mouth off, and then they could kick his ass." That's what the bartender says. So Sheffield and the guy in his car both filed complaints with the Tampa Police Department Internal Affairs Bureau. Sheffield says, quote, "My complaint was I've been harassed too much and my life was in danger." Once guns are being drawn in that sort of situation, it's like, hey, you didn't even ask me. You didn't even ask for my license first.
Right.
I have no idea what's happening here.
We see it. It says chef on the plate. What are you cooking up?
What do you got in there?
What are you cooking
I know you're
up?
using an S, but you probably can't spell.
This one says doc.
Yeah.
What you street
Dr.
pharmacist?
Chefs, what's happening
What's
here?
going
What do you
on?
got? So, so no arrests are made in this whole thing, but there's a lawsuit coming up here. Jesus Christ, Doc's silver-haired middle-aged white man here says, quote, unfortunately, Dwight did have an episode before, but there's not a tie-in at all here. Dwight was not a primary player in this at all. Like, hey, look, even we know he's a fuck-up, but this wasn't his fuck-up. Put it that way. 1990 Mets go 91-71, finish second in the NL East, don't make the playoffs. Doc, though, has a better year, 19-7, almost has 20 wins again, 34 games pitched, 232 innings, 223 strikeouts, only 70 walks. Doc's back, fourth in the Cy Young voting, 14th in MVP voting, so he's now one of the top pitchers again.
Shaking off the coke.
Shakes off the shoulder injury and all that. Makes $1,866,667.
He's doing great.
And right after the season has a daughter named Ashley.
Yeah.
So he's already fucked up the name, so we can't have that. 1991, April 2nd, 1991, Doc signs a contract extension.
Yeah.
He wanted to be the top paid player in baseball.
Yeah.
But his deal is just a few bucks shy of Roger Clemens, who gets a big deal here. He gets a 3-year extension worth guaranteed $15.45 million.
For 3 years.
For 3 years, Doc does.
5 a year.
And that was number 2 in the majors back then.
Wow.
Think about that shit.
Shit today.
Nothing.
Jesus.
He said it was important to be number 1, but when it's that close, it doesn't really matter. He said it also contains a total of $750,000 in performance bonuses that would, if he achieves all of them, it would make this deal higher than Clemens' deal.
Okay.
So he says it depends on how you look at it, whether it's the highest paid or not.
Doc Gooden was maybe the highest paid baseball player in the majors.
In the majors, man. Yeah. It's fucking crazy. They asked his agent, is he the number 1 salary guy? And he says, I'd say yes with an asterisk. In the end, I think it will be. He said, Mets executive president said, quote, he will be the best paid player in the National League. In general, it's a unique contract for a unique player. If there's one player who is the heart and soul of our ball club, it's Doc Gooden. So they're making a commitment here. Heart and soul.
Cokehead.
Does a lot of coke. But heart and soul.
Wow.
Now, at this point, also, he has endorsements with Spalding, Nike, Toys R Us.
Yeah.
He does ads. He does fucking commercials for Kingsford Charcoal.
What?
That's how ingrained Doc is in the American.
God.
Nike, Toys R Us, Spalding are very big, broad brands.
Yeah.
Charcoal? You're trying to sell.
Man, you got to get that 4th of July, Labor Day, and Memorial Day money.
You know what? Who do I think is the best at grilling? I'd say a 26-year-old millionaire is probably the best at grilling going out there. I want to talk to Doc's dad. I bet he's great.
That's what it is.
I bet Doc's dad can grill up some fucking shit.
It's that he's not good at it, and that's why he uses fucking charcoal.
Yeah, that's
gross.
True. Yeah, and also Armatron watches he's doing.
Really?
Too. Yes, I mean he's got sponsorships all over the place.
That's good for the arm. I got it.
Yeah, Armatron.
Well, play on words.
And he has a deal with the Home Shopping Network.
What?
That's how basic this motherfucker is at this point. He's turned into he's like a pair of leggings.
Yeah.
Like that, he's just omnipresent and accepted.
Slanging
in
to
the
everybody.
World. It's fine. It's a baseball signing deal, so they'll have a bunch of Doc Gooden balls on the Home Shopping Network.
Incredible.
Other players there, the top few for this, because it was interesting that he made the most money here. Gooden here, let's see. Canseco is third.
Yeah.
Jose Canseco's third.
The third contract?
Third highest at $4.7 million. Tony Gwynn is fourth.
No kidding.
At $4,083,000. And Darryl Strawberry is fifth, just over a hair over $4 million.
How about that?
That's the top 5 making under $5 million a year, basically.
Incredible.
Which is insanity.
And 2 of them are going to blow a majority of that on coke.
Yep. And Tony Gwynn is going to live a nice, clean life and drop dead anyway. And all the other ones are still alive. Think about that.
That's amazing.
That list is steroids, cocaine, crack cocaine, prostitutes, all that shit. And Tony Gwynn. He's the only dead one in that fucking group. The only dead one. Jose Canseco looks 33.
He does.
He looks 33.
He looks great.
With all of his fucking drugs.
Starting wrestling now.
Gooden's still alive.
He's starting a new athletic career in his 50s.
Clemens does just fine for himself. Strawberry's still alive, and he had cancer, too.
He did.
He's still alive. Coke, crack, whores, cancer, nothing can fucking stop this man. Tony Gwynn, little chubby, drops dead. that goes to tell you that McDonald's is worse for you than cocaine, I feel like. It has to be. Whatever Tony Gwynn was eating, I don't fucking know.
He wasn't eating healthy.
He wasn't eating healthy,
and
obviously.
If he was just eating a shitload of it.
Yeah, you could see when he came up, Tony Gwynn was thin.
Yeah.
And then he got pretty pudgy soon.
Yeah, that was not kale.
No. So, 91, the Mets themselves are 77 and 84, so it's starting to go off the rails here for the Mets. They go really into the shitter in the early 90s here. Doc's 13 and 7, 3.60 ERA, not an all-star or anything like that. And he's only has 27 games because in September 91, his shoulder's been bothering him the whole year. He can't figure out why. They figure out why. It's because he needs rotator cuff surgery.
And that's not good for a pitcher.
Terrible for a pitcher, especially back then, especially for a power pitcher.
Oh, God, yeah.
Not good. He's never the same electric Doc.
No.
Before this, his shit was electric. Yeah. It really was. But after this, never the same again. Nope. He has to get by on guile and knowing how to paint corners and shit like that. He turns into a completely different pitcher. He does make $2,466,667 that year. Now, Doc, at this point, he starts reflecting on his past, and he says, let's see here. Let's do it in their own words. What do you say?
Great.
Let's have it in their own words on Doc. Let him tell us about his past in their own words. Quote, I became this person I really wasn't. People said I was just this nice, quiet, shy kid. Sometimes I wanted to yell shit or fuck or just blow somebody out, but I'd always stop myself and say, I'm not supposed to be like this. Jay Horowitz, the team's public relations director, asked me to do an interview, and even if I didn't want to do it, I'd say, okay, I'll do it. So that's his thing. He says that it's because he was so put upon.
Yeah.
That's the problem. He was just so put upon that he couldn't stop.
All right.
Now, Davey Johnson, his manager, says the problem with Dwight is he just couldn't say no. He was too nice. Eventually, he knew people in Tampa who could get you in trouble. It was like he was the lucky one, and it would be wrong for him to not be their friend. Like he wanted to prove to them that he wasn't acting like a big shot or turning his back on them. That's why you can't go home.
Right.
Because when you go home, you have all these people go, oh, you're too fucking big now.
Right.
And then you end up in with these fucking people who don't have the same goals as you in life. They're not in the same.
And then you're put upon.
Yeah. Then you're put upon. It's what I mean. It's one thing if you have people that you're loyal to, that you are always friends with and everything, and you want to take them with you, great. Right. That's fine. But when you go home and you find these fucking people that you knew.
The whole scumbag family.
In the 11th grade, and now they're going to try to suck you dry.
Right.
That's why you don't go home. You go far away where these people can't get their tentacles on you.
Out.
He says, quote, Doc says, I'm not going to sit back and just take things anymore. I have to be me. I'm going to be a little more selfish. Yeah. So, this is from the New York Times, March 13th, 1992, from the New York Times. 3 Mets are accused of sexual assault. This is not good. They were first not identified, but the St. Petersburg Times reports that Dwight Gooden said the pitcher was aware that a woman had made allegations about him, so they know that he's involved. His agent was quoted as saying that allegations may surface that they have been denied by all parties involved, all the Mets players. So her story is the other 2 players involved in this are Darryl Boston, the outfielder, and Vince Coleman, who, you know, Vince Coleman.
I got nothing.
You know Vince Coleman?
No.
He used to steal like 100 bases a year for the Cardinals.
Oh.
He got in trouble also for throwing a firecracker at a child when he was a member of the Mets. He got caught in the fucking tarp and got his leg all fucked up and was out like a whole year when he was fucking around during a rain delay.
Dipshit.
They rolled the tarp on him by accident because he was dicking off. Vince Coleman's a fucking idiot, and we will 100% have a Vince Coleman episode someday.
And he's hanging out with him?
He's hanging out with him. He was a big star, though. He was an amazing base stealer. He stole 100 bases a year in the mid-'80s. He was fucking incredible on those really good mid-'80s St. Louis Cardinals teams.
And he's dicking around and fucking up his legs, the thing that makes him valuable in the goddamn team?
Yeah, he's a fucking moron. So anyway, they all play for the Mets at this point. Now, they say this is a woman in her late 20s. She's a resident of New York, but she alleged that sexual battery occurred sometime in the end of March 1991, a year ago. This is from. They say the allegations are that 3 individuals who are believed to be members of the New York Mets baseball team committed the assault. They call her a seasonal visitor to Port St. Lucie. So a spring training
group.
Yeah, it's if you've ever seen Bull Durham.
Yeah.
It's Susan Sarandon describes this. I mean, I don't want to put that label on her. We have no idea. She could just be down there.
Right. She could just be
who knows?
spring breaking down there.
Who the hell knows? She's 31 years old here.
Oh, she's not spring breaking.
Not spring breaking here. This happened. Apparently, her story is she came across Doc Gooden, Daryl Boston, Vince Coleman at a nightclub in Jupiter, Florida on March 29th, 1991.
That place is a nightmare.
Oh, it's fucking awful. So she said she gave Gooden a ride to his house in Port St. Lucie that he was renting for spring training. And she said she was, at that point, pushed into a bedroom by Doc and then raped by both Doc Gooden and Daryl Boston and Vince Coleman, who were already in the house when she and Gooden arrived.
God damn it.
That's her story. She says that she told police that one of the players offered her an autographed picture of himself and some apparent in like compensation for this. Like, well, you could have an autographed picture. That's her.
What?
I don't know if that's...
Who wants an autograph of their assailant?
Yeah, oh, look at that.
Jesus.
Gee.
Never forget, girl. Here.
Vince, the best raper. Boom, exclamation point. Like,
why would she want that?
I don't think she would at all.
This is... That's the most knockoff Jeter gift bag ever.
At least it was voluntary with Jeter. Like, hey,
Jeter or was it A-Rod?
No, Jeter said thanks for the voluntary sex, and he'd send him home in a limo ride with like a gift basket with like some
autographs,
like,
and, like
some memorabilia
Cartier.
and shit, like jewelry and memorabilia, she was leaving an award show.
Right.
It's like, should I
She
go
got
to
the
that?
thank you bag.
Should I go to the Emmys or fuck Derek Jeter? The gift bag is pretty. It's a
very similar.
It's even.
Yeah.
So it's basically
Starbucks
I don't know
gift
which
cards
ones. I'll decide later. I don't feel like, because I mean I don't really want to fuck Derek Jeter, but I also don't feel like getting dressed up.
Right.
So you know what I mean. It's
like
really a toss up.
Yeah,
it's not positive here. So this woman says she was raped repeatedly in the early morning hours. She said she showered and made the bed before leaving the house. Now she said in New York, she went back to New York. She said 4 days passed before she realized what had happened. She said then she first contacted the Port St. Lucie police. She didn't leave her name or the identity of the players. And then a year passes before she files a formal complaint of rape on March 3rd, 92.
It's allowed.
Yeah, that's what I mean. There's no...
She can do it.
It's fine. Her lawyer said, I can't explain that she did not realize she was a victim. She said, he said that it wasn't unusual, that it was not unusual for sexual assault victims to have a realization of the assault kind of dawn on them over few days. That happens. Now the police department said that they pretty much just dodged questions about whether they were going to arrest a that sort of thing. Police indicate that they gave her a computer voice stress test to help them determine whether she was being truthful in her allegations, which is interesting. Now they said the test, which that is not admissible in court, showed some deceptions in testimony to investigators. They also said that neither her stress test nor polygraph test results that the players end up voluntarily taking submitted to the police played a role in reaching a decision. So, she said, there's an interesting twist to this. In the file is a 450-page file, by the way. That they reveal that the police interviewed 24 witnesses, including Mets pitchers Ron Darling and David Cohn. Now, David Cohn, the woman and David Cohn told police that they had dated last spring. So this is like David Cohn's during the time she was going out with David Cohn. She said in a handwritten statement that she'd gone to the spring training complex to see David Cohn, and she said that during the game, Vince Coleman and Daryl Boston waved to her after the incident. So she said that. David Cohn said that he learned about it from Ron Darling, that she was coming forward saying she was raped, and David Cohn said he never spoke to his teammates about the allegations. So I don't know. Now, April 3rd, 1992. They talk about she didn't have a comprehensive physical examination right after the attack. They didn't do a rape kit or anything like that, so they don't have evidence, such as like the smears and the swabs and all that. But for the first time, and not the last time in the 1990s, there is a dress involved in this. DNA tests of a blood sample taken from Dwight Gooden match a semen stain on the dress of the woman that she says she was wearing the night of this attack. Now,
a year later, she ain't washed that dress.
She pulled a major Lewinsky on this one, apparently, and hung on to it, and that's the only source of the evidence here. So they reported that it's a forensic match. They said that it is what it is.
Yeah.
So there's that. Now, April 10th, 92, a week later, they announced no charges will be filed against the players. They found a state prosecutor said the case lacks corroborating evidence and comes down to the word of a victim against that of 3 individuals. Okay. So apparently, if you're going to rape somebody, make sure it's a gang rape,
right,
so you have more people telling your story, I guess.
So your side's louder.
What the fuck is that? Well, I mean, there was 3 of them, so they're still weird.
There was goddamn
that's
semen.
Obviously sarcastic,
right.
So
there was semen and there's no charges.
So, Jesus Christ. So the state attorney said that the case against the players was not strong enough to bring before a jury with likelihood of success. They're going by numbers here. He said he called the case vulnerable after an investigation. He says, quote, this is the after painstaking analysis and receiving input from the victim in the Port St. Lucie Police Department, we've concluded that our duty in this case is to decline prosecution. He said the decision was not easy, but it would have been hard to prove that any sexual relations the woman may have had with the players was not consensual.
Right.
Their story is it was consensual.
Right.
They didn't say, we don't know who you're talking about. Right. We never met this woman. They're saying, she wanted to fuck her. That's their thing. Yeah. So they ended up saying, now the players are pissed off. Mm-hmm. They said, Gooden says, quote, we've all been hurt, especially me. I'm happy it's over, but I was confident throughout. That's what he says.
Isn't he married?
Oh, yeah. We'll talk about that. His wife was fucking furious about this, by the way. Oh, yeah. Her lawyer said it was deeply disappointing and said that understood the state had a difficult task in actually prosecuting. He also says, on the other hand, my client is comfortable in the knowledge that she told the authorities the absolute truth. She said that she would discuss what other relief is available to her. In other words, a civil suit here. So they reviewed this 450 pages of documents, and they decided that the prosecutor said that there were, quote, the fact that she did not report this right away, the fact that there was no corroboration, the fact that these people who were at least acquainted with each other, she said, means that it was very hard to prosecute. The jury would have been very likely to say that it was consensual. Mm-hmm. They said the only piece of physical evidence was the dress. They said it wasn't ripped or torn or anything like that, and there was no other physical evidence linking Vince Coleman or Daryl Boston to her. Mm-hmm. Now, Gooden's story is, this is right from his book, Doc, a Memoir. So this is right from his book.
He addresses rape allegations.
Oh, yeah. He tells the story right out of the book. I'll give a direct quote. Quote, here's what happened on March 30th.
Oh, Jesus.
I've been out for drinks with outfielders Vince Coleman and Daryl Boston at a nightclub in Jupiter called Jocks. It wasn't far from our spring training facility in Port St. Lucie. The whole area was fairly sleepy back then. Every spring, the Mets were about the only attraction in town. At night, we'd go out drinking and looking for women, and women would go out drinking and looking for Mets. The hookups were never hard to come by. This particular night, I met a 31-year-old woman, and we started talking upstairs. It was getting late. Vince and Daryl decided to go back to the house I was renting and crash. Yeah. She wasn't lying about that. Nope. They were already there when they walked in. Yep. That was the part that I thought was a lie out of her whole story when I first read it. I was like, oh, they're back at the house. How are they back at his house? But that was the only part of the story where I was like, I think she might be, maybe she was drunk and
sounds to me like all the girls dipped early, and those two were still looking for women, and then they gave up once Doc had a chick, and they're like, bring her back.
That's the thing. But now that I know that was true, now I'm like, ooh, this is getting creepy. He says it was getting late. They decided to go back and crash. The woman and I stayed at the club dancing and getting to know each other. Then she drove us back to my place. When we got there, Vince and Daryl were on the couch in the living room playing RBI baseball on Nintendo, which is fucking awesome. I'm sorry. The only cool part of this story is Vince Coleman sitting on the couch using himself in RBI baseball from 1988. That's amazing. So he said, we walked past the two of them and into the bedroom where she and I had sex. When we came out, she hung around for more drinks. Vince asked jokingly, quote, you ever been with 3 guys in a night? So this is his, come on. She said, quote, 2, never 3.
Oh, boy.
Was her line. No, she's trying to, make a joke.
You guys don't scare me.
Exactly. That kind of shit. Like, you ain't nothing. So Vince then asked if she wanted to go into the bedroom with him, and she said yes. Before the night was over, all of us had sex with her. I was married. This was wrong, but it wasn't rape. The following day, players were comparing notes on their night out. Daryl Boston told Ron Darling what happened back at my house. When Daryl described the woman, Ron said, "Oh man, didn't you know she's going out with David?"
Oh, that's fucked up.
That's the other thing. She's David Cohn's girlfriend.
Yeah.
He said nothing happened for a long time. Then suddenly a whole season later, she went to the cops. And Frank Cashin, the Mets general manager, yet again was calling me into his office for a serious chat. He said, "Do you have an attorney?" "No." "Why?" "Because you're being accused of rape." He said, "This wasn't the first time Frank had to make a speech like this to a player."
God.
David Cohn had been the focus of a sex assault investigation in Philadelphia toward the end of the previous season. From what I heard, he'd shunned an old reliable, quote unquote.
Gross.
And chosen a different groupie, leaving the first woman upset enough to accuse him of assaulting her. Wasn't that what Hubie Brooks had warned about in my rookie year? That's what they went around. Keith Hernandez says, "You drink yourself out of a slump." Hubie Brooks said, "Watch these damn,
watch the whores." Yeah.
Watch the groupies who are, possessive groupies. I don't know. He said, "Frank told David he could be arrested at any moment. In the end, he wasn't. So blah, blah, blah. I told Frank I'd get a lawyer. In Port St. Lucie, I was concerned about how the local folks would react as word spread around that 3 black ball players had been accused of raping a white woman. I was also concerned about spending the next decade or two in a Florida prison. All the New York papers sent more reporters down to cover the story. They began to fight with one another over scoops about the case. For 6 weeks, what was left of my reputation was debated and trashed. Vince, Darryl, and I all passed polygraphs, and the woman's case began to fall apart. It turned out she had some history making similar allegations. On April 15th, attorney Bruce Colton announced the case was being dropped, but I definitely didn't get off free, nor did those who loved me. Monica, pregnant with our second daughter, was crushed by the whole episode.
I'm sure she was.
As was my mother, who was still dealing with the grief from her own mom's death. They always believed I didn't rape the woman. He said he never admitted having sex with the woman to his wife, but his wife was always pissed off about it.
Forever.
You don't have to admit it. There's a fucking DNA test.
Your jizz is on her.
It doesn't matter. You jizzed in her general. You were at least jizz. She was at least jizz adjacent. Right. So that's a problem. You shouldn't be jizzing around other women. Never. Ever.
No.
That's a problem.
When you're married, your jizz stays inside you until you get to your wife.
That's it. So
that's what's supposed to happen. Unreal.
Other ladies' dresses.
And you admitted that you had sex with her.
Yeah, publicly.
It's not even just that your jizz got like on a rag and then brushed her dress.
But in the kitchen.
You wildly and openly said, "I fucked her."
Or, like a Small Town Murder scenario. Right. We had a show, if you don't listen to Small Town Murder, our last episode, the man raped and killed a 66-year-old woman,
right,
and then put her in the bathtub with some water to try to, look like she was electrocuted. And his excuse, how his semen was inside of this woman, was, "Well, I work on construction on her house, and sometimes I fuck my wife before work, and then I wash my junk off in her tub." So some sperm must have reanimated from the water and swam toward the goal line into her. That was his excuse.
Put some dry freeze in your tub.
It wasn't like that. That's an excuse. So you're like, huh? So if you don't listen to Small Town Murder, that's what you're missing out on. Shit like that. White trash murder excuses.
And fucking talk. I just can't imagine this. This is unbelievable.
So 92 season, Mets finished 72-90.
What year is this?
90. This is 92.
Yeah.
This is all going on.
So this is when I loved Doc, and I knew none of this.
Oh yeah, this was all huge news.
This was amazing. He was an amazing ball player, and I knew none of this.
That's amazing right there. This year he's 10-13. So not too good. 3.67 ERA.
Oh,
so
no,
it's not terrible, but it's lowest. It's the worst of his career. 3.83 and 90. 206 innings, so 145 strikeouts. He does win the Silver Slugger, though.
Really?
Which is for the best hitter at your position. So he's the best hitting pitcher in the National League.
Which isn't
big fucking deal. Yeah. He makes $5,166,667
for his worst season.
So his best salary for his worst season. Wow. 93 with the Mets. Mets are 59-103 this year. Fucking terrible. God, they sucked back then. The Yankees too. So I can't talk any shit. The Doc was 12-15 with a 3.45 ERA. So now he's got, after the rotator cuff, he's just consistently mediocre here. 29 games, 149 strikeouts in 208 innings. He's not that electric strikeout guy anymore. He does make $5,916,667 this year. Yeah.
In 2 years.
That's what I'm saying. Now, Doc later on will explain his downfall here. He says, quote, "I didn't think it happened before, but in 92 and 93, all the drinking started to accumulate or started to affect my performance. It was cumulative. After a while, abusing your body catches up to you. I'd be the first to admit that. Yeah, I would say so. Now, December 93, he fails a drug test, a major league drug test.
For?
Cocaine.
Yeah.
Somehow, this article says that a high-ranking baseball official said that baseball's medical people chose to let it slide without informing the executive council or the players' union. They were just like, we'll let you go on this one, which is weird.
Why?
I don't know. Quote,
he's terrible right now.
That's what I mean. One of the representatives said, quote, they didn't do him any favors by doing that. It does make you wonder if there were any other times they did the same thing. Yeah, how many were they letting slide?
Right.
So 1994 season is the strike-shortened season, but before it comes to an end, because it came to an end, early August or something,
I don't remember.
There was an all-star game and shit, I think, that year. 94 here, June 28th, he fails another cocaine test, and he's suspended 60 days. So that year, 94, by the way, he's going to have a 3-4 record with a 6.51 ERA. Not wonderful. He does, however, make $4,616,667.
He got the whole contract.
Got it all. Now, July 22nd through August 14th, he goes to the Betty Ford Center.
Really?
Rehab time, after a second failed drug test of the year. On August 14th, Strawberry picks him up from the Betty Ford Center and drove him to Strawberry's new house and showed him his new house. And Strawberry said to him, quote, Doc, you've got to get out of Florida. You've got to change your environment to keep from using. The most important thing they told me at Betty Ford was to change the whole atmosphere and get away from people who use. Get the fuck out of Tampa, stupid. Jesus Christ.
Cut that circle out.
That's the thing. But he said that, he went there. He did 3-day session at the counseling thing in New York, a psychiatrist who has some program. And, they said though, right after that, guess what he's doing? Drinking, doing coke again. And then 5 months after that, Strawberry tests positive for cocaine. And fucks his career too, because he was making a comeback with like the Dodgers at one point, and then the Giants, and it all went to shit. Gooden says, quote, it just goes to show you it doesn't matter where you are, drugs, alcohol, it's everywhere. What's more important is that you can never let your guard down. Now, it's at this exact point that his ex, the one from Darryl Jr., wants more support. She asked the court for more support. By that, right now, she is making $6 an hour for the Florida Health and Rehabilitative Services Department.
Wow.
She has a state job. He is making $5 million a year. He agreed after several months of going back and forth in court. He finally agrees to pay $2,500 a month support and to purchase a $60,000 house for her and her son in Florida, which in Florida in the early 90s would buy you a decent house. Now it won't, but back then it would. So October 24th, 94, he's granted free agency. So now he's a free agent. So now he can go look for a team. There's a strike going on, so whatever. But he can look for a team. November 5th, 1994, he fails another cocaine test.
God damn it, Doc.
It's not going to be most attractive to a team, especially when you're not allowed to play next year because they suspend him for the entire 1995 season.
Really?
Whole year gone. Suspended the whole year. That's
number 4, though, isn't it?
Yeah, this is a lot. It's been a bunch.
He's really failing all of them.
He says, quote, it was my $5 million high because that's what I was going to be paid that year. He said he would, his life went downhill. He said he'd go in a hotel for 2 or 3 days at a time, go through $2,000 a day in cocaine.
Oh, boy.
That's a lot of cocaine.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of fucking money, too. He said he didn't want to go home and have his kids see him. He didn't know what to do. So another friend of him, who's Floyd Yeomans, who's a pitcher in the big leagues, told Gooden one time press about Gooden one time. He was with him. Gooden signed over a 1988 Mercedes, signed over for $1,000 worth of crack.
Wow.
He didn't even have the patience to go
to an ATM.
He could have went to a fucking dealership and said whatever, and they'll give him wholesale price for it, and he would have still walked her out with 10, 12 grand. He didn't have the patience to go to a dealership and go, give me anything, I don't care.
He got $1,000 worth of crack,
which was gone in tonight. He says, quote, I just totally gave up on trying to be clean. It was as bad as I ever was. The Mets general manager, Joe McIlvaine, in a non-silver statement, he said, Dwight Gooden needs to get his life in order. Dwight needs himself to realize the problem and come to grips with it. Dwight needs to demonstrate that the same degree of competitiveness to defeat a far more insidious enemy that is sucking the life out of him, both personally and professionally.
Yeah.
I agree.
100%.
He said he's fallen in a giant pit right now. We all hope and pray he's able to dig himself out.
Oh,
so
boy.
Let's keep praying. That'll do it.
It's called a den.
It's a crack den.
Right.
So remember Dykstra talking about Sheen's crack den?
Yeah.
That was a good crack den, though. That sounded fun. Minus the crack.
It's a fun one.
It's a fun one. He says, his agent says the bottom line is if he's going to have to rid himself of the problem. That's it. There's no maybe or fine line. So, I would say so. He said he's determined to beat it and get back to 100% health. And, when that's achieved, we'll think about baseball. So he's fucked. He would describe how a beer, nor just having a casual beer, would start a chain reaction of a few more beers that would then start doing some shots, and then would lead to Coke. That was his progression. He says, if I don't drink, I have no desire to use Coke. You could put a bag of Coke in front of me right now, and I have no desire for it at all. Once I drink, especially when I get drunk, the desire is there. The hard stuff leads to Coke. It was the same thing over and over again. My problems have never been here in St. Pete. I was always getting into trouble in Tampa. It's strange. I have a son in Tampa, and I go there all the time to see him. If I go to Tampa during the day, I'm fine. But in Tampa, after the sun goes down, it's like I'm a vampire. Pirates and whores! It's like I'm a vampire. I change. The roosters get inside my brain. No, he doesn't say the roosters.
He can't have a beer without Coke.
No. He says, I change, get a beer for the ride, meet my friends, go to a club, and I'm in trouble.
Wow.
Yeah, that's called going out and partying.
Yeah.
He said, when did it happen? That's one of the things I'm trying to work out with my counselor. It's tough to try to pinpoint it. It's not like it's only one thing. It's not that simple. When you go out and get shit-faced to the max, I still can't pinpoint it.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen people that only smoke when they drink, but when they drink, boy, do they smoke cigarettes. They're
animals. They turn into monsters.
Yeah, they're like, give me a cigarette, give me a cigarette. I've never seen anybody that gets drunk and goes, fucking Coke.
Yeah. Fucking Coke, man. Give me it.
Crazy.
A lot of people like that. Well, I know that's like the gangsters back east, like the mob guys. They would do Coke when they drink to keep them up all night.
Okay.
Do a bunch of drugs. You're all drunk in your sweat. Do a bunch of Coke. You level yourself out. Then you can drink a bunch more.
Right.
You do a bunch more Coke. You can party for 3 days.
Chemically.
You can do Coke and drink for days at a time and never feel tired or drunk or too high.
Why?
Balance it all out.
The whole point of drinking is to get drunk.
I don't understand it.
Do Coke
I can't
and not
stand
be drunk.
Coke, so I don't understand it at all. The whole thing's fucking horrible to me. It sounds awful.
I don't want to keep drinking. I want to drink till I fucking go to sleep
and be done with it.
Yeah.
He says, people ask, how can you not know when you're getting tested? It's not that easy to. I remember when Otis Nixon tested positive again.
For ugly face?
For ugly face. I was like, oh man, how could a guy do something like that with so much on the line? Now I understand. Yeah. Coke. Yeah. That's how. He says that, he says, now afterwards, he's sober. He's saying now. He says, I want the test. It's one thing to say it, another thing to have the proof to show it. He said he's devoted himself to 3 times a week AA meetings, 2 times a week sessions with a personal counselor. One of the members of his AA group is a 70-year-old man who's been attending these meetings for 30 years. And Gooden said he was shocked to hear this guy say that he still wants to go back to alcohol at times. And he said that it's it is what it is. He said I can see why people have relapses. You can never have this thing beat. I have to accept that. I still have my days where I get down. The difference is it doesn't stay with me as long as it did in August and September. Yeah. So this is still bad. Yeah. 95 doesn't play. He's suspended. June of 95, though, he's saying he wants to play with the Yankees next year. Strawberry is signed with the Yankees.
Got it.
And he wants to go there too. He says, I go to daily meetings of Narcotics Anonymous and AA meetings as well. I've been clean since September. It's been 9 months. He said, baseball is not the most important thing in my life anymore. The time away has allowed me to get involved with the program. It's allowed me to do a lot of soul searching and find myself. He said, life got out of control for a while. It's not like I planned this drug addiction. It happens to lawyers and doctors and everyone else too. The fans may feel I betrayed them, but I always gave them 100% when I took the ball. So there you go. 1996, reinstated, signs as a free agent with New York Yankees. Says he almost killed himself at this point while he was suspended. He says that one night he had a loaded gun to his head and was thinking about killing himself.
And their soldier.
He said he was destroyed by the 1-year suspension, thought his life and career was over, and thought he was fucked, and he was embarrassed by everything.
Well, you've got $15 million.
And like 8 kids at this point, too. Let's think about that. He said that his wife, Monica, walked in on him and screamed at him and took the gun away from him. He said, quote, I was sitting in the bedroom with a gun in my hand. My wife walked in, and I actually had the gun to my head thinking about pulling the trigger. He said this was the day after the suspension came in, and he said he had to think about it. He said, I was so distraught over that. I was sitting there with the gun. I'd say, go ahead and end it. But then I'd say, no, be a man and face up to your responsibilities, your wife and kids. That's when my wife walked into the room. He said, I don't know if I would have ever actually done it, but then my wife walked in and she just freaked. She started screaming and she grabbed the gun from me. Yeah,
that's what they do.
Oh, wow, that's a reasonable reaction.
Right.
Let's just say that. When I think about it now, it was crazy. The gun was loaded. It could have gone off, but she grabbed it from me and then she ran and called my mom and told her to come over right away. When I think about it, the whole thing was terrifying, I would say. So,
I would hope so.
He said it would be the toughest scene in the movie because he said he wants to have a movie made about his life. He said this would be the toughest scene in the movie, especially for my wife and mother. I haven't talked about this, but it would have to be in the movie if I'm going to be honest and do something that will make people understand what I went through with drugs. So 1996 Yankees, he's good now.
Yeah.
Doc is clean.
Yeah.
He's had a year off. He's ready to come in, and he does. This is a magical season. He's a part of another magical New York season. Doc, though, has a magical time of his own. May 14th, 1996 versus the Mariners. Doc throws a no-hitter.
No kidding.
Fucking no-hitter. Yeah. He comes back. This was the most miraculous shit in the world, by the way.
After surgery, after drugs.
Has been gone a year.
Rape charges.
He was an afterthought of hope maybe he'll make the team.
Right.
And in May, he throws a goddamn no-hitter.
Incredible.
They carried him off the field. It was a really big deal for like the players, and it was a big deal for the Yankees here. That started a streak because then Cone had a perfect game, then Wells had a perfect game in the next couple of years. 9 innings pitched, no hits, no runs, 6 walks, 5 Ks. So he's a battler now, though. It's all about... He's got to. If he gets behind on someone, he'd rather lose him to the walk than get bombed on. So he's got to be smart now. This is the Yankee team. Joe Girardi, Tino Martinez, Jorge Posada was the backup catcher there. You know, Jeter, Boggs, Charlie Hayes caught the last out of the World Series. It's that team. Andy Pettitte, Kenny Rogers, Doc Gooden, Jimmy Key, David Cohn was the staff.
So many stuck around for so long, too.
Yeah, that was the core of the team. This was the year Mariano Rivera was a setup guy. He wasn't even the closer yet.
Really?
John Wetland, who will definitely have his own episode, was the closer, and Mariano Rivera, who will definitely not have an episode unless he goes nuts out of nowhere. He
just murders people because he has the weirdest face on earth.
I can't take it anymore.
Good grief, his cheekbones are psychotic.
This is the last year he's not a closer for like 20 years, which is pretty awesome. Doc here goes 11-7, 5.01 ERA, so he battles and struggles here. 170 innings pitched, 126 strikeouts, makes $950. Also, really $950,000. Also, really endears himself to George Steinbrenner.
Really?
Steinbrenner has a soft spot for him and Strawberry.
Really?
Oh my God! When Strawberry was too
Steinbrenner like Coke?
Probably likes Coke heads. Steve Howe, same thing.
Yeah.
He's got a soft spot for guys who fuck up.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing. I don't know if he sees it as
fix them.
I think it's a business thing. I think he sees it as buying low.
Yeah.
You can buy this amazing racehorse who just has a cold right now.
Right.
If you fix his cold, he's going to fucking win races for you. I feel like that's the way he looks at shit.
He's got the talent.
That's the way he looks at things. But then once they're in there, he gets some weird personal loyalty to these people. Darryl Strawberry, holy shit, he paid his back taxes. He owed like $1 million in back taxes. He paid that, gave him a job as a spring training instructor. He had cancer. He fucking paid for his medical. Took care of everything for Darryl Strawberry, and he did the same for Doc. Gave him a job later on.
Is it because they both came from the Mets too, and that feels good to take care of a beaten horse that used to play for your rival?
They both play really hard too, which is another thing. George has. George has the soft spot for guys with heart, except for Don Mattingly, who he hated like the plague, because Mattingly was a dick to him, which is why I love Mattingly.
Mattingly is he's got the most heart.
He's just
that guy just loves baseball.
Yeah, he does. So 9-5 in 97 for the Yankees. This is a 4.91 ERA. So he's a different pitcher now. He's never going to be a 3 ERA kind of guy again. Does make $2 million that year.
Not bad.
No, the Yankees end up losing to the Indians in the ALCS that year.
Okay.
November 1st, 97, he's a free agent. So December 8th, he signs as a free agent with the Cleveland Indians.
Yeah.
So 1998, this was too bad he wasn't on the Yankees, because that was their magical, insane best season ever there. Right. Instead, he goes to the Indians. He goes 8-6 with a 3.76 ERA, so much better. 134 innings, only 83 strikeouts. September 3rd, 1998, he's pissed off. Yeah. His house is all fucked up, and he's mad about it.
In Cleveland?
No, in Florida.
Oh, okay.
He's not going to Cleveland. Kidding me?
He's not staying there?
No.
He's renting?
I don't care where you're from. No one's like, I'm moving to Cleveland now. Sorry, we've been there. No. So it's not
news playing for
it's not Omaha or anything. Don't get me wrong, but it's Cleveland still.
Good news playing for Cleveland is Coke is a plentiful, and I'm sure that shit is everywhere.
All over the place. Probably you could sell your Mercedes for a house back then in Cleveland. Probably. Now in they had bought a home. Him and his wife here. They bought a home. It's an 11,000 square foot home.
It's a big one.
That they bought. It's a big house, and they apparently are now suing the contractor here because they said that the home was like breaking as soon as they moved in. He paid this design company $30,000 to draw up plans and oversee construction, and apparently they didn't do that well.
So like the architect?
Yeah, he's suing them, saying they didn't oversee it properly. He said there's a bunch of cracks that they were told were cosmetic settlement cracks that turned out to be cracks in the whole thing. Jesus.
A crack in your house is a quote-unquote
settlement crack.
Fuck you.
No
Fix
problem.
it.
That's fine. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Relax.
Crack in my brain.
Hey, there's 11,000 square feet. Just go in another fucking room. It's all right.
It's going to crack.
Don't worry about
There's 11,000 square feet of it.
What, like this is the only place in the fucking house you could hang out? Go somewhere else if you don't like looking at the goddamn thing. It's cosmetic.
It's not cracks.
In the suit, they say the design was defective and drawn without the benefit of an architect or structural engineer. Leaking and cracking has continued. There's a gap near the roof connection that's 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch deep. It's Jesus Christ. Moisture seeping in through the cracks in the walls has penetrated the drywall, drapes, and carpets and cabinets.
What?
Paint is peeling and cracking. Wallpaper is bubbling. Tile is loose. Mold and mildew have taken hold, and it smells.
How does the fucking company think they're not going to get sued for this?
That's what I've said. They're suing for $525,547, which is their estimated repair costs plus court costs, attorney fees, and money to cover the relocation while the home is being renovated.
$500,000.
$500,000. So
wow.
He does get paid $2,787,500 for this year.
Okay.
This late 90s is when pitcher salaries were insane.
Yeah, good.
Insane. I remember Darren Dreifert getting 5 years, $55 million.
Maybe not him, but
that's the type of money though.
Yeah.
Decent pitcher, automatic $100 million back then. So it was like get Doc, a decent number 3 guy in the rotation for almost $3 million. That was considered a bargain back then.
Yeah, it's a fucking hell of a steal.
So 1999, he releases a book, Heat. My Life on and Off the Diamond.
Oh, boy.
Which sounds like, I'm sure it's a page turner.
Yeah.
I didn't read that one. It sounded boring. It sounded like a bunch of playing bullshit.
Heat.
So this year, 1999, Cleveland, he goes 3-4, pitches in 26 games, 6.26 ERA. Not wonderful.
No.
That's downhill from there. 88 strikeouts in 115 innings. Does make $2,637,500. And in November, he is a free agent. And the Yankees won the World Series that year as well.
My God.
So he missed that too. January 6, 2000, he signs as a free agent with the Astros. His ex wants more support for Darryl Jr. as well. She is, they have she says the 1,200 square foot house that he bought is getting cramped. He has, there's 2 sons there, including Dwight Jr. and everything. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath home. She wants to get something larger, and he said that he's trying to get out of it, saying that he's not making as much money as he used to. Right. 2000, April 13th, his contract is purchased by the Devil Rays from the Houston Astros, because he had signed with the Astros for a little while before the season. And then May 25th, he's released by the Devil Rays, signed June 11th, 2000 as a free agent with the Yankees. Okay. You know what I mean? He did this. They did the same thing with David Cone. Yeah. Cone left, went to the Red Sox. He was totally done. Steinbrenner signed him for a 1-year, $10 million contract. He just said just because he got paid less than he should have some of the years he was here.
Wow.
He gave his players like money that he felt that he underpaid them.
Steinbrenner's
which is
a hell of a man.
Weird shit.
Yeah.
It's just nobody does that in sports. It's a weird thing. Like Cone was worth the minimum. He was a minimum pitcher, lucky to make the roster. $10 million. It said services rendered is what he said. He did it for. Just no matter what he does this year, he earned it before. Okay. Pretty cool. I guess if you pitch a perfect game for him, it's probably a memory thing.
Yeah. Also, he made a shitload of money because of that guy.
Yeah, well, he ends up pitching in 18 games for the Yankees. He ends up only starting 5, but going 4-2 with a 3.36 ERA for the end of the year. So I mean, fuck yeah, man, he does his thing there. Makes $500,000 for that year, and that is it for him though.
Done.
In 2000, he comes back again. He signs a free agent deal with the Yankees. Goes through spring training, but does not make the roster. Is cut on March 31st, 2001. Just didn't quite cut it there.
Played 16 years.
But he played a shitload 17. Of years. Total 194 wins, 112 losses, 3.51 lifetime ERA, 2,293 strikeouts. Damn good career.
That's not bad at all.
Pretty good, pretty fucking respectable career there, and that whole thing here. So he retires that year. He says, quote, "I always think about what might have been if I had taken a little better care of myself, but I decided I didn't want to think about the what ifs today. I want to enjoy the moment, look back at all the great things I've done in my career, all the great people I've met. It was a joyous ride. I have no complaints."
Okay.
And he shouldn't, because he made about $36 million.
What the shit?
Just on baseball salary. That's besides all of his endorsements and everything else. So, yeah, that's a lot.
Oh, my God.
Yankees hire him as a, quote, special assistant.
Yeah.
In other words, wear a Yankee hat and we'll pay you a salary.
$500,000.
Reggie Jackson was a special assistant for 20 years. That means show up and wear a Yankee hat at Yankee games and say
high-five some kids and go the fuck home.
Just be an ambassador of the team type of thing. Now, February 21st, 2002, police spot him weaving in the outside lane of an expressway.
Oh, no.
Headed east at about 11:30 p.m. He said he saw the patrol car approach from behind and slowed down to less than 40 miles an hour, even though there was not a lot of traffic. They're saying he was going too slow, and he said, "I was going slow because I saw you, so I slowed down."
Slowed down so we can.
Yeah. Problem was he had a Michelob Light bottle in his lap, which was a problem, or in the center console. So they said, "Why do you have that?" And he was like, "I don't know." So
thirsty.
He did a field sobriety test and passed those, but they said that the police report said that his speech was slurred and his eyes were red and watery. And they asked, "Well, where are you going?" And he said, "I'm on my way to pick up my son and take him to a game." It's 11:30 at night.
Yeah.
There's no games to take your son to.
What are you doing?
They said, "Why don't we take a breathalyzer? Because that's not where you're going, sir. Guarantee it." He said, "No." He told them, so they said, "All right, well, you're under arrest then," because that's part of the deal. Right. So he said he has, Jesus Christ. He said that, later on, he says that he would tell the officers thank you because he wasn't on his way to see his son or to a game. He said, "I'll be honest, I was headed out to have some drinks with friends. The police did me a favor. I put myself in a bad situation that night. I might even have started using drugs again. It was very poor judgment on my part. I wasn't drunk, but with my history, I shouldn't have even had one drink. I was upset with them at first, but it was my fault. If I had continued drinking that night, who knows what might have happened." So he ends up pleading guilty to reckless driving later on. He's arrested on reckless driving and open container. All of his teammates, David Cone said that the first thing that I do is worry when I see this sort of thing. I'm worried about a friend. I certainly support Doc. I'm always behind him, even though bang my girlfriend. And
I'm also worried about my ex-girlfriend, and maybe he's on his way to go fuck her.
Yeah, who knows
my
what's
current
going on.
girlfriend.
Yeah, I called my wife. She's at home, so it was fine. Now, 3 days later,
things like this happen. I worry.
I'm a very worried.
Whoever I'm dating at the moment.
I call them. I go, "You all right? Doc Gooden's not at your house, is he?"
He's drunk.
He's hammered. He's on the couch. He won't leave. He's playing RBI baseball. I know. It's like 2002. I don't know why. 3 days later, George Steinbrenner's still pissed about this, though. He's fucking mad about this.
The DUI?
He wants Doc to be clean and sober here. So he's refusing to comment about it publicly, Steinbrenner, which is not normal for him. Yeah. Also, there's they say that Steinbrenner won't accept Gooden's phone calls at this point.
Oh, no.
So that's not good. Now, in June, prosecutors agree to drop the DUI charge because the police video of Gooden's sobriety test was inconclusive. He's fined $400 and required to perform 21 hours of community service, and he's placed on probation. Having a great attorney must be amazing. It must be fucking amazing.
A great one? I'd just settle for one that's retained.
One that he probably has.
Pretty impressive.
Retained and top notch. Like, he can call at 2 a.m. and that motherfucker will get out of his beautiful house and get in his $120,000 car and come to the fucking jail for you. That's the kind of money Doc Gooden's shelling out.
He'll take off his silky monogram
That's right.
PJs.
Yeah, he'll show up right at the police station. Monogram PJs in a briefcase. Where's my client? Hair askew.
I'm here for Doc.
I got right out of bed. He says, though, he hasn't had the Yankees accepted him back at his job. He said he hasn't even had a beer since that night at all. He said, so he's good.
Yeah.
He's good now.
Super good.
Late 2002 here, they're having financial problems, the Goodens. The Steinbrenner urged them to put their house on the market and move into a more affordable home. So they bought a $370,000 house here, and financial problems are again, even in this house. It's a 3,900 square foot home here. A flooring company files a lien against the Goodens, saying they didn't pay their $3,900 bill for custom hardwood floors. And in January, a bank files a foreclosure suit saying they missed mortgage payments since November, so 3 months. And the back payments were made, presumably by George Steinbrenner, I bet.
Right. And
the suit was dismissed, but then they fell behind again in the summer. And another suit says that Gooden failed to pay more than $18,000 owed on his American Express card. They will send hitmen to your house in Amex.
You better pay that shit.
You pay Amex. They're not fucking around.
That's the most ruthless.
You think the mafia's gone? They just got different jobs. They all work for Amex, and they'll come for you. And also, he missed several payments of $1,829 on his car. $1,800 car payment he's got on his $80,000 BMW.
Oh, my God.
Was he upside down on like 4 cars? What was he doing?
Why do you have that car?
I don't know. He recently caught up on those payments, though. Mm-hmm. So he's having there's all these lawsuits going around. January 4th, 2003, he's arrested for driving with a suspended license. He's not drunk or on coke or anything.
He's not got a license.
Just doesn't have a license. There's a traffic stop where? Tampa, of course.
Yeah.
He's charged. They noticed that he failed to stay in his lane, and they pulled him over. And he said he was charged with knowingly driving with a suspended license. It's just a misdemeanor. He's taken to jail, and that was that. They said that he was cooperative during the arrest, and there's no evidence to suggest he was driving under the influence of anything, so there'll be no charge for DUI. So that's good anyway.
$36 million.
Stop driving.
What are you doing?
Take a fucking cab.
You're missing... He's missing payments.
He's missing payments. He's got,
$36 million.
Gets worse. April 2003, Monica, his wife, there, takes him to court, saying for an emergency petition for support. This is his current wife, for his daughters who are 12 and 13, and his 2 sons that are 7 and 8 that he's had with her. Mortgage payments and utility bills on their home in Tampa were going unpaid that he was supposed to pay. Jesus Christ. Family law judge ordered him to pay $13,600 a month to his wife for support.
Oh, Jesus.
God damn.
Holy shit.
Wow.
For how long?
Oof.
For like 2 payments?
Shit. That's a lot of fucking money, man. Wow. Be like, I don't know how long you want me to keep that. It's not going to last long, I'll tell you that.
Your Honor, I can't pay my car payment.
Your Honor, I've paid a month, and do you know of any 1-bedroom apartments I can move into, possibly? Anybody looking for a roommate?
Anybody looking for blowjobs? Because I'm broke.
Like a clerk or a bailiff here, like... needs a roommate, lives with their mom right now. Like, I'll pay up to $400 a month. That's all I got. Wow. So Gooden said no, but then finally the judge found him in contempt of court, and so he said, you know what, I'll find the money.
Yeah.
When the judge wants to put you in contempt, you find it. So he wrote a check for more than $38,000 to avoid a 5-month jail sentence, or 29-day, a 5-month, 29-day, just short of 6-month jail sentence. And soon afterwards, they end up separating here. And in August, he files for divorce, and now he asked the judge to reduce the support, saying that it greatly exceeds his income, $13,000 a month. And her lawyer says a sports star leaves the limelight and goes to something more mundane, and it can be very painful. The transition from star to supporting actor is very difficult to make. Dwight hasn't handled it so well.
No.
Now they're trying to get an accounting of his assets here. There's a financial affidavit filed by him saying he had assets totaling $879,830. But most of the cash received in the last year isn't listed. It indicates that he has no income except his $100,000 a year salary as Steinbrenner assistant, and that. But he's making more than that. How does he have that much money or that many assets? There's a quote here that says, every superior wage earner sings a sad song and says, I can't pay this or I can't pay that, but I don't think he's being forthcoming. He's a bit of a mystery man in that respect. So they talk about that. He still lives in the home. She says that he comes in at weird hours and gave her $9,000 to pay some credit cards and other smaller amounts. And if I'm going to the store or if the kids need to be fed, but he's not giving her they're not paying the bills. She said at one point her water and electric service were about to be turned off for non-payment. Also, they can see that he had 2 checks totaling more than $1.3 million in deferred payments from the Mets from the 90s.
How much?
$1.3 million, but he only has $384,000 in the bank.
Okay.
So they're like, okay, did you piss $1 million away last year or what here? October 2003, Dwight Jr. is arrested.
Well, for what?
What do you think, Jimmy? I'll give you one guess. Fucking cocaine.
Yeah.
He's arrested.
He's got the thirst.
After a sheriff's sting operation charged with 2 counts of possession of cocaine and 1 count of delivery of cocaine.
Oh.
He says he's innocent and says that it's a case of my mistaken identity.
I'm not my dad.
I'm not my dad. I'm Junior. He faces a 15-year possible prison sentence. Police say he and a 19-year-old named Kendon Davis sold undercover cops 2.4 grams of crack. So, yeah. Right. Now, Gooden says that this came after his son just transferred to a new high school because he's been receiving taunts about his father in the old high school. So he said this one, he had the same thing in this new high school. And, now his ex-wife or his ex-girlfriend, Deborah Hamilton, who's this guy's mother here, says she blames him for it, and he blames her for poor conditions in the home, and that Dwight Jr.'s discipline problems or failing grades are her fault, not his cocaine genetics.
Right.
He accused her of diverting support money for Dwight Jr. to other household expenses, and she says, the woman here says that Dwight Jr. needs counseling because of, quote, problems between me and his father. And so Jesus Christ here. So she wants also money for another house. So he wants the money to be reduced when he turns 20. It's a long story here. It's all about financial bullshit. But
when he turns 20?
Yeah.
What?
I don't know how that works.
How are you getting it 2 years extra?
I don't know what, and then to get it reduced, it should be over by then.
It should be done
that's
2
it.
years.
Yeah, that's it now. So Dwight Jr. obviously faces, cocaine distribution charges. Now, what the fuck is Doc up to? What's up, Doc?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
He's fucking eating is
really?
what he's doing. He said that he engaged more with his children after he played and with his wife, but found himself deeply unhappy with his life, binge eating, and he said he eventually got up to 285 pounds.
Holy shit.
His playing weight was like 198.
Yeah.
So that's a little over. He said, quote, I was sitting at home just watching TV shows like Gunsmoke and Matlock and eating everything in sight. He's living like an old just like a sad...
Watching 60s, 70s shows? What
super
the fuck
weird.
is he doing?
September 2004, court for Junior here.
Yeah.
He is facing the sentence. Prosecutors dismiss the cocaine delivery charge, and he pleads guilty to 2 charges of possession of cocaine, sentenced to 24 months probation, and ordered to perform 150 hours of community service.
Yeah, but now you're in the system, Junior.
Yeah. Well, he spent 10 weeks in jail also between court appearances because he tested positive for marijuana use and being charged with a probation violation there. So, yeah, that's how that works. So they dismissed that, but he's also got fucking problems.
Yeah.
And he must, his lawyer says this is a bright, intelligent young man full of potential. There's no doubt in my mind he'll be found not guilty of this. So on probation, he must submit to twice monthly drug screenings here. November 2004, Doc has another kid.
Really?
Dylan with his girlfriend now, Monica Moore. Monique Moore, not Monica. It's fucking confusing. His wife name is Monica. Monique is basically French Monica.
Yeah,
you can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't. You shouldn't ever get together with someone that even starts with the same letter as your ex. Never mind the same fucking first 4 letters.
I wouldn't
That's
want
crazy.
that.
It's crazy.
I never want to see.
If you have Monica and Monique, you're going to confuse the names too, and you get yelled at some point. So, March 13th, 2005, he's living in infant, newly girlfriended bliss here. Cops arrive after Doc allegedly punches his girlfriend in the forehead.
Of course he did.
Wow. Apparently she threw a house phone at him, and he responded by punching her in the forehead.
Oh, boy.
That was the allegations here. The police representative said basically there was a bruise starting to form on her face, which was consistent with the story she told. We arrested him and charged him with 1 count of domestic battery. Mm-hmm. This is 12:44 a.m.
Yeah.
House phones and forehead punches.
That's when it happens.
That's the name of the show, by the way. House phones and forehead punches. I don't think it gets better than that as a show title. So I got to write that. House phones, forehead. Okay, good. 12:44. He's held without bond and must appear before a judge before they let him out. May 31st, 2005. He's asking for joint custody of his son. He wants legal documentation of fatherhood and shared custody.
Yeah.
That kid needs his own punch in the forehead, he feels, and he's going to do it. So he's going in.
He wants to erase the child support. That's what he's doing.
Haven't you been in court enough?
Truly.
Just stop. He's fucking, what do you do?
And why are you hiding cash? Clearly, you've got to be.
That's the thing. I mean, he's in court wandering around.
Just pay your bills.
What is he doing? It's funny, too, because while he's in court the one day, a man walks up to him, very well-dressed man, and introduces himself. And you know who it is?
No.
It's Adam Jones, arugula connoisseur. And he says to Doc, and he says he has no music, by the way. He says, sir, no, I don't. They asked me what type of music. First, how is it you've come to? Yes, I know. How is it you've come to arrive here? I'm supposed to. I get it. They asked, but that's the whole thing. That's the thing here. But they asked me what type of music I would like. I was like, how do you judge music? I said maybe like something from a barbershop quartet, possibly, if you have that. And
is there an arugula polka?
I don't know the arugula polka dance. I'm thinking possibly, but I'm not sure. But this is ridiculous. Doc, I'm sorry for you. Yeah. Go to a place, a nightclub, to have a refreshment after a hard day's work. You meet a nice young lady. You're trying to be a gentleman. You know, you look what happens. I'll tell you, boy, you can't win for losing. Jesus H. McGillicuddy, I'll tell you, this is ridiculous. You simply try to make sure your girlfriend is aware of her surroundings after she erroneously tosses a phone, and you slap. It's like in the movies. You slap a person, and then they're better. You do it. You just can't please people. It's ridiculous. I'm sorry for your plight. Poof. And then a poof of arugula leaves.
Grilled chicken and arugula.
Grilled chicken. Doc is very confused, and he goes, don't I know that motherfucker? He plays football, don't he?
Yeah.
So, August 9th, 2005, Darrell Jr. is arrested again.
What?
He is arrested again for violating probation and faces additional charges of having marijuana and bullets in his car.
Oh, don't do that.
Don't do that. He's being held.
Drugs and weapons now.
Weapons. He's already wanted on an outstanding warrant for violating his probation before.
How is he a gangster?
I don't know. He's jailed because he lives in kind of a shitty area, a shitty house.
How did he do this?
I don't know. They found outside of a downtown Tampa club 16 grams of marijuana and 44 caliber ammunition in his car. Damn, he's going with the big dog too.
A lot of weed too.
Yeah, it's a little over half ounce. Yeah. He's charged with possession of marijuana, being a felon in possession of ammunition, and violating probation. So there's that. August 22nd, 2005. That was August 9th.
Yeah.
August 22nd, early morning hours. Doc is heading to his sister's house for a party. And he's also going to score some cocaine on the way. No. And cops pull him over for erratic driving.
Yeah.
Police say he smelled of alcohol and was slurring his speech, but he refused to get out of his car or submit to a breathalyzer test. Police called for backup, and Gooden fucking took off. He just drove away in his car. He fled in his BMW, screeching, going up and down one-way streets the wrong way.
Idiots.
Finally escaping the cops, getting to a friend's house to where he fucking holed up for 3 days.
Really?
In this friend's house, presumably smoking a shitload of crack.
Tons.
I would imagine. August 26th now, a few days later, he finally surrenders to police. He turns himself in, and he's going to end up getting probation for a felony of fleeing and eluding. As part of his plea deal, he's ordered to complete a drug treatment, get a full-time job, and spend 100 hours speaking to 100 schools, Little League teams, and other youth groups about how drugs affected his life. At that time, he also pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor battery charge from the punching his girlfriend in the forehead, and he was sentenced to 45 days in jail and given credit for time already served. He's ordered to take anger management classes. The fucked up part is... when he's taken to jail and they put him in county, guess who else is there?
Who?
His boy.
Oh, what?
Senior and junior.
They're in the same cell?
Same jail. Not same
amazing.
cell. Same thing together. They're both in the Hillsborough County Jail together.
That is wild.
Both fucking Goodens, man.
On the same day.
I don't think we've had that in Crime and Sports.
Yet.
We've had juniors. We've never had them sharing the same cell block before. So, hey, congratulations,
Way to go.
Doc.
Way to go, fellas.
Woo! Bells are go. Wee, you did it. A first. You fucked up worse than anyone else. Good job, buddy. Wow.
His last name is Gooden. Anything but.
March 14th, 2006, he goes into his probation officer and fails a cocaine test, fails a drug test for cocaine.
At his probation officers.
And he's given the choice of extended probation or prison, and he chooses prison.
Yeah.
So he does a little over 6 months in prison.
Yeah.
He just says, fuck it, send me to jail.
Let's go.
He did like the Henry Hill thing. He took a bunch of pills and he goes, now take me to jail.
Well, the thing, otherwise you're just going to fucking be out there on the streets, get rocked up.
You're just going to
You're going to go baback in anyway.
For probation anyway.
Just pay your time and be over.
He wrote in his book that he basically could have gotten 5 years behind bars if he violated again. So he just did this, and he'll serve some time. He said, "I told the judge, quote, I have a problem, sir, with cocaine.
Yeah,
I have a problem, sir, with cocaine.
We know,
and arugula. I had a cocaine relapse." He said,
"It's well documented."
He'd been ordered to stay away from alcohol, drugs, and bars, and to submit to a minimum of 3 random urine tests a week, and all of that shit. But he said making the decision of prison in his mind, he thought it was best for him. His attorney said this is not a case of a pampered athlete. He took it like a man. He took it like any citizen in this situation. He didn't whimper. He didn't cry. He didn't beg. He took it like a man. Well, he chose that. So he says of being in jail with his son, he says, quote, I always used to visualize maybe playing ball together professionally, the two of us. You never imagined doing time with your son. No, I would say not. So he said he heard people being raped, and that freaked him out.
I'm sure,
as I would imagine.
He remembers that.
Yeah, well, yeah, that'll stick in your mind. Yeah. He remembers it. They don't seem like that.
Remember when you did that?
Remember that one? He says, quote, I'd rather get shot than ever come back here.
Yeah.
Is what he says while he's in there. He goes, you come from playing professional baseball where everyone knows you and everybody loves you. Now you're wearing an orange jumpsuit and guards are standing in front of you, yelling at you, telling you what to do to pick up trash. That was definitely the bottom. No doubt about it. Nothing else even gets close. This is crater bottom here. So January 24th, 2009, he's all out of prison. He's doing fine. He marries that Monique Moore lady. She marries him.
God,
she's a former flight attendant. He said said he has a newfound Christianity.
Oh, boy.
Praise the Lord, pass the cocaine, motherfucker.
I found Jesus in a prisoner's asshole.
Baby. And he plans to open a Dwight Gooden Baseball Academy in northern New Jersey.
Who's going to fucking go to that?
Maybe he can start with, he can almost field a team with his 7 children, so he can start there. He has that. There's fluff pieces everywhere.
Really?
All over. The doc is good. He's good now.
No, he's not.
He's healthy. Since I've had my pitfalls, I've had to accept them. Everything that's happened, it's nobody's fault but my own. He does all this shit. You know, I've cheated myself. I should have won more games. I should have been better to the fans. My family, my kids, the whole thing. I've got knocked down so many times to not get the message, but now I've got it.
Yeah.
I am fucking good now.
I'm good now.
Good now.
How did we not say that yet?
Oh, we've said it a lot, actually.
Good and now?
Oh, yeah. Oh, good and now.
Yeah.
I'm good and now.
Right.
So, Monica, by the way, or Monique, is pregnant again.
Mm-hmm.
She's supposed to have another baby here. So she says that, quote, he's a totally different person now. We're starting a new life together. It's like he's starting over again, and I'm very happy for him. I really am. So, September of 2009, that's all wonderful, but he still owes $300,000 in back alimony and child support to his first wife, because that shit stacks while you're in prison still. They don't just stop that. Even though it was temporarily reduced to $1,500 a month while he was in prison, down from $5,900 a month, but he owed a shitload before that. So it's been a goddamn mess. He says a lot of that stuff happened when I was incarcerated. He says we're still talking about it and working on it and trying to work it out in court. Now, Monica's lawyer says that she's sympathetic to his situation and believes him to be a good and caring father in a lot of ways. So they release a half-decent statement. March 2010, his daughter Milan is born. March 23rd, 2010, he is pulled over. Basically, he's driving, taking his son to school at 8:50 in the morning while intoxicated, and he rear-ends a neighbor of his in a Mercedes. And a 71-year-old guy, and the guy says, quote, I looked at him right away. I'm an avid sports fan. I said, Dwight Gooden, right? He shook my hand, and I shook his hand. We introduced ourselves. It was just 2 people out of the car just saying hi after the accident.
And got any coke?
Got any coke? And he said, what, you holding? So Gooden told him that he was taking his son to school, and then got back in the car and drove away. Officers responded to the 911 call that somebody had made, and they stopped Gooden a half mile away and arrested him. Quote, he was arrested minutes later for driving under the influence with his 5-year-old son unrestrained in the back seat. He's charged with driving under the influence of a controlled substance, endangering the welfare of a child, and several other things.
Asshole.
Complete asshole. Wow. He says, his lawyer says that he was not intoxicated. If anything, it was an Ambien hangover from the night before, because he took it to sleep, so he might have still been fuzzy, but he wasn't on any drugs.
Well, why are you driving after that? And why isn't the kid in a seatbelt?
Put the fucking kid in a booster seat or something at 5. He said, I'm not out to prove everybody wrong. I'm just taking it day by day. I'm clean and sober, just trying to make good choices for me and my family. You know how that goes.
Ambien is not clean and sober, dickhead.
No.
You're not allowed to take anything.
I would say not in that situation. His silver-haired middle-aged white man here, and Agent Ronald Goldstein, said that Gooden was not intoxicated. He said all the facts have been distorted by the media. He's a very good father and a very good friend. The amount of lies and untruths being spread hurts me personally. Ooh. Shut up.
What's the difference between a lie and an untruth?
He said that Gooden was prescribed Ambien because his wife recently had a baby girl and he was sleep deprived. He says, this is ridiculous. They're smearing my client. Quote, 4 years of hard work have been destroyed. It's just appalling. He pleads guilty to child endangerment charges and is sentenced to 5 years probation. I mean, dude, if you're his fucking kids at this point, the one is in fucking jail. This one's, he's driving women in the car. You got to feel bad for I feel bad for all these people, Jimmy, but not nearly as bad as I feel. Yeah. There's a lot of Dwight Goodens. They're hard to find because it's a common name, but there's the first 50 pages are all him. Yeah. So I went another direction. Oh? I found Dr. Gooden, Doc Gooden. I found Dr. Charles M. Gooden, MD, a doctor primarily located in Fort Smith, Arkansas, has 24 years experience in general surgery. Doc Gooden, he has 4.56 stars out of 5 on vitals.com. And someone said that their prayers and the doctor's faith helped her surgery, and she healed up just great.
And now she's addicted to cocaine.
Now she just likes Ambien. May 1st, 2010, Doc and his wife stopped living together, after all this shit.
Yeah.
July 24th, 2010, Doc, it's in the paper, Monique is out here saying that Doc has abandoned her and his 5-year-old son and 4-month-old daughter. She's living with her parents at that point. She said, quote, he's left us with no money. When I got here to Maryland, I had to go apply for social services, food stamps, and health insurance for the kids. He has afforded no financial assistance to us. She said that Gooden was basically that she said he was having a big relapse. He was holed up in a hotel somewhere while all that shit was going on. She said it's a fucking mess. His downward spiral has really begun when he crashed into that other car. Things have gotten worse since then. He's been less responsible. He stopped paying bills and all that shit. So this sounds like it's going down the path. Steinbrenner at that point dies, so no one's going to bail, he's not going to bail him out anymore. He's very upset. Doc said, George was like a second father for me. It's definitely been tough. So, 2010 in August, he's inducted into the Mets Hall of Fame.
Really?
With Darryl Strawberry. So they came in together. They go out together. Yep. When he was up for the Hall, he got like 3% of the vote, which is you're off the ballot if you get under 5 on the first one.
That's pretty hysterical.
It's pretty fucking, Mets Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
They go to jail together. They come up together.
Coke together.
2010, he said, is when he turned it all around. He said he was driving along and he heard a gospel song and something about the lyrics inspired him to go to rehab.
Yeah.
And he called friends that day, arranged therapy, and went to AA sessions. 2011, he goes on Celebrity Rehab with Dr. Drew.
Really?
Lenny Dykstra broke him out. Remember? Tries to break him out. That whole we talked about on the Dykstra episode, which, wow. Fucking leave him in there, please. June 4th, 2013, his book comes out, Doc, a memoir.
Yeah.
So, he talks about all sorts of everything. That's where that excerpt from about the sexual assault came from. He talks about his medication and what he takes. He says his medication for recovery includes chats with his sponsor, going to meetings, and being in touch with members of his support group. He said, if I do today what I did yesterday, the chances of relapse are 0. But if I was to choose to take a day off from my recovery, it's a 99.9% chance. I guess that's the best way I can explain it.
Yeah.
So you have to be monitored or you're going to go do a shitload of cocaine. That doesn't see. He's good now. Yeah, he's good. He's fine. March 1st, 2013, Monique Gooden calls the Bergen County Police Department and claims that Dwight's making terroristic threats, specifically claiming, he said, quote, all bets are off and I will hurt you and your family. You'll see. Just wait.
All bets are off.
All bets are off. Wow. I don't know what the fuck.
I've never said that ever in my life in a threatening manner.
All bets are off, bitch. Like, this is crazy.
How angry you got to get to say, all bets are off.
All bets are off. I'll hurt you and your family. That's crazy. Police arrived. They called a family court judge who got a temporary restraining order on the spot.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. He was living in the same home while they went through while they're going through separation and divorce. But the judge orders Dwight to get his shit and take off. He's not arrested or taken into custody because he didn't actually hit her. They were like, let's just take him out of here. It also strips him of his visitation of his 2 young children until the next court hearing, which is like a week away.
Oh, okay.
He also will decide whether to make the temporary restraining order permanent. And he's also ordered, though, in that meantime, continue to make payments on the Range Rover and the insurance on the Range Rover for your wife.
Oh, no.
And make child support payments from previous court order. Jesus Christ, man, what a fucking mess.
Pay for her Range Rover.
Yep. So August 12th, 2013, they're apparently now his wife and kids are evicted from their home.
Oh, no.
And they are forced out here. They moved. This is the house they moved into in 2011.
The good news is they've got a Range Rover.
They have that to live in. So hopefully that's roomy. This was a $4,500 a month rental property, and they didn't pay rent for March, April, May, or June, and were booted out finally in August.
Wow.
2014, Doc's 50 years old. He made it to 50, this guy. He said, quote, I never thought I would make it to 50.
Me neither.
It's shocking me, and I did the goddamn research. He says that he's been clean and sober for 3 years. He said, I've been to rehabs, I've been to counseling, I've been to jail, I've been in prison. The only place I haven't been yet is the cemetery. That would be my next stop.
Yeah.
So, very prescient, I'm sure.
Very logical.
May 2016, fluff pieces abound again.
Oh, God.
Fluff piece in the Daily Mail UK. He said the last time he did cocaine, he said, it was 2011. He's hasn't done it since then. He said, quote, now I'm taking care of myself. Because of all the drugs, I worry about my health. I get 2 physicals a year and I always get nervous. But the last time I was there, the doctor said I had the liver and kidneys of a 28-year-old. The problem is he didn't say if it was a healthy 28-year-old or one riddled with cocaine. Now, August 2016, Darryl Strawberry and Dwight are supposed to be on a radio show together, a WFAN show.
Okay.
It's in New York. It's a sports radio station. And Doc doesn't show up.
No.
He just doesn't show up. So they asked Darryl, quote, how worried are you about Doc and his future? And he took 25 seconds to respond to that. It's a long time in radio.
On the radio?
On the radio. That might be 5
seconds.
years. That's 5. People click
That's
on for 3
commercial.
seconds and they're like, oh, they went off the air and they just shut it off. If we stopped for 25 seconds, you would forget you were listening to a podcast
so
when we
much
came
time.
back. That's how long it would be. You'd be like, oh, shit, yeah, these guys. I wondered what I was doing.
He stared at him for 25 seconds and then spoke.
He said that he knew Gooden was in trouble. He said his wife... He says that, I've done the same thing. My wife has pulled me out of dope houses. And he said, my fear is that, and I know addiction, and my fear is that people who don't change, they die. They die that way. I just hope the light comes on before it's too late. Then they asked another question, and Darryl says about Doc, quote, he's a complete junkie addict. I've been trying behind the scenes to talk to him and get him to go for help, but he won't listen. This is when he's publicly saying how clean he is.
It took him 25 seconds to think about, am I going rogue? I'm going rogue.
I'll do it. I'm doing it. He says he thinks he can manipulate and BS his way through everything. His son called me to beg me to help his dad before he dies.
Wow.
He said if no one speaks out about it, he will be a tragedy. He will be an ESPN headline. He will be like Prince or Michael Jordan or Whitney Houston. He meant Michael Jackson. But he said Michael Jordan. The only other person to make that mistake is the Iron Sheik, by the way. The only other person I've ever heard to make that mistake.
A lunatic.
A lunatic.
A genuine lunatic.
In the midst of saying how he wanted to fuck someone in the ass to teach him a lesson.
To make them humble.
Yeah. He said that...
Darryl Strawberry is blowing up his spot.
Oh, big time. Then he said that his ex-girlfriend, a woman named Janice, has also joined Strawberry on this quest, saying that this girlfriend who Gooden used to live with, said that Gooden had, quote, turned into a cocaine monster.
Wow.
So there's that. They all say they fear for his life. He's fucking, all this shit. So he says he's fine. He goes on Joe Piscopo's radio show.
Jesus.
Doc does. And he says, I'm healthy. I'm an addict, but that doesn't mean I'm an active addict. And he says, unfortunately about about Strawberry, it's no friendship. Bad judgment on my part thinking it was. So he's mad at
30 years of being a friend, and he tries to go. He gave you tough love, Doc.
Well,
that's what it is.
Then he says, I've always been supportive of Straw during his best and worst days. I recall the times he was in prison and I was there for him. I recall the times he struggled with his own addiction and I was there for him too. I've never failed to be there for Darryl Strawberry. I don't do cocaine and I haven't for years. And fuck Darryl Strawberry.
They are going to go with the trade
and his
barbs.
wife's gotten fat. That's right. I fucking said it.
You're going to trade barbs in the
Jesus
media now.
Christ.
This is great.
Now, the family sides with Strawberry. They thank him.
Really?
His son, Dwight Gooden Jr., who's now out of prison,
he's
apparently.
He's a gangster. Who cares what he's got to say?
He put out a statement thanking Darryl Strawberry and others who voiced concerns. He says, quote, his problems have been well documented and publicized. At this time, our only concern is his health and that he takes care of himself. So, some time goes by, a couple years. May 14th, 2019, big old fluff piece.
Yeah.
Big old fluff piece because he actually did something good that deserved a fluff piece. He went to the Hackensack University Medical Center's pediatric cancer unit, and he said he wanted to
care for other
kids. He said he almost didn't show up that day because it was snowing, and he said, who am I to make the excuse when these kids are battling for their lives every single day, hooked up to these machines, not knowing if they're going to make it the next hour. So he's a good guy, right?
There are like 5 other kids you should be seeing, man.
He's good now,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
June 7th, 2019, 1 a.m. Not great.
He's not at the
Nope.
pediatric center?
No, he's in Holmdel, New Jersey.
Hey.
He's pulled over just before 1 a.m. He was stopped for failing to maintain a lane, driving too slowly, and having overly tinted windows. And when they took him out of the car, he had 2 Ziploc baggies containing cocaine.
Yeah.
So, yes.
God damn it.
He faces 5 years in prison in charge of possession of a controlled substance, which is a felony, and drug paraphernalia also, and driving while intoxicated because
Sounds
he
like
was coked up as well.
Straight junkie addict.
Sounds like it. Silver-haired middle-aged white man lawyer William Pietragallo, he says, quote, Mr. Gooden is a kind man with a generous heart who continually volunteers his time doing charitable work. He's loved by many and has had the full support of family and friends. We ask the public to reserve judgment and have no further comment on this time. How long can you reserve judgment? 35 years? We're fucking judging now. It's been 35 years. I've reserved plenty of judgment. Jesus.
I loved him. He was one of my favorites.
I loved him too.
Yeah.
July 13th, 2019. Dwight Jr.'s talking shit now. He's fucking throwing some shade on old
They're
senior
gonna do
here.
this to the media.
Oh, fuck yeah. They
Hell
knocked
yeah.
on his door and asked him some questions, and he's out there standing on his front stoop. I have the picture, and he said it was disappointing. He said about the whole thing. He says it's an unfortunate situation. He called it very disappointing, and then the son said this. This is amazing. Quote, I'm not him. I don't live that life. Never did. Actually, you definitely did.
Slow down, Junior.
Slow your roll, Junior. You can say, I've gotten my shit together.
Yeah.
My life is better now.
Walk that one back,
Never
brother.
did. You did time together, stupid. I've got my own children. I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
So basically, he's like, I can't even deal with this. I got my own fucking problems.
Yeah.
I got a mortgage. I can't deal with this shit.
Never did. I mean, I got my own kids.
Who hasn't been arrested for selling crack? Let's be honest. I mean, everybody here, right? How else did you put yourself through journalism school?
Yeah.
July 20th.
Who's got 44 caliber bullets in their pockets?
Everyone.
Not me.
Who doesn't? July 23rd, 2019, Gooden is driving his 2012 Chrysler in the wrong direction down a one-way street at 11:10 p.m. on a Monday night.
It's a 300, isn't
It's
it?
perhaps maybe that or one of those. I don't know.
LeBaron. Is it a LeBaron?
Let's hope it's a 2000. They probably didn't make them in 2012. Jesus, to Sebring. So, he is arrested for DWI again in July. It's his second arrest in 2 months. This is this year. He said, I'd like to thank everyone for their support in this horrible struggle. My apologies to everyone I let down or disappointed. I deserve everything that's being written or talked about me.
Yeah.
That's what he says. He says, I have no excuses for my actions, so I'm going away for a while to try and save my life. I really don't know who I am right now, and I definitely don't trust myself. This is the worst I've ever been through all my struggles, but I am going to keep fighting no matter how embarrassing, shameful, or selfish I am feeling. Basically, I'm going away tonight to try to get some help to save my life. I'll be checking in tonight, whatever it takes. I never thought I'd see myself at 54 going back to treatment. First time was at 21, but you know.
Yeah.
At that point, he also spoke to Daryl Strawberry for over 2 hours, and they made up.
Yeah.
And he said that Gooden said that basically that it's always been a little personal with them back and forth.
Yeah.
He says about 4 months ago, for some crazy reason, this is Dwight, I stopped taking all my medication. I wasn't going to meetings. I wasn't talking to anybody. So he's just like, I just started doing coke again. I don't know. And the Newark Public Safety Director here says it's sad to see the continued problems of this former Met star. Yeah. But it's an example of how persistent scourge of drugs and alcohol in this country and the stranglehold they have on addicts.
He's the worst he's ever been. Remember when he sold a car for $1,000?
This is worse.
This is worse.
He just doesn't have millions anymore.
He's
going to
die, James.
Oh, yeah. He's fucking up. September 6, 2019, last month, he makes a plea deal that he can avoid jail time for this whole thing. He's going to plead to a lesser charge of third-degree possession and will be told he will not have to go to jail if he completes a drug rehab program. The Yankees, manager Aaron Boone at the time, said, we've all been probably been touched by this. this. It hurts your heart to see it. A guy who's beloved too. This is a guy that everyone you come across has a relationship with him, always has good things to say about Doc and understands the demons he's facing. He's just a fuck up. Yeah. He says, now his silver-haired middle-aged white man, William Petrillo, said, Dwight is doing phenomenal and we're confident he will continue to do so. He's extremely grateful for the continued outpouring of love and support he has received from family, friends, and many professional athletes. He is good now, everybody, for right now, but next month it could be different. I had to
tomorrow.
Keep checking Google here. Yeah. Celebrity net worth, which we know is not accurate at all, has a net worth of $200,000 for him, which who knows?
What?
I don't know if that's true, but I hope
that
not.
means he's got $40, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
$36 million.
Based on their algorithm. So can't get enough of Doc Gooden? You can follow him on Twitter at DocGooden16. He has 69,500 followers, follows 457 people. Yeah. Go to Amazon.com, get Doc a memoir. It's $13.57 hardcover, $10.99 paperback, $14.69 audio. And finally, on eBay, you can get a 1988 starting lineup Doc Gooden in the box, mint, $12.95.
I'm buying it.
Free shipping. Can't buy it because I fucking bought it when I found it. Fuck yeah. I found it, started typing, and I'm like, I want this. Why don't I just buy this? So I bought it. So you can't have that one, but you can get the other two because that one's going to be here this week. So that said, that's Doc Gooden, everybody. Hope you enjoyed Doc Gooden.
My God.
Sorry
I hope
so
you
much
do
info.
enjoy him because he's not going to make it to 60.
Yeah,
that man's going to die.
I wouldn't doubt it. He's a fucking mess.
That sucks, man.
He can't go more than 3-4 years without having a major incident.
Fucked up.
He just really loves his cocaine. He loves it. That's the thing. He really enjoys it. He loves it. But that is Doc Gooden. That is Crime and Sports. Yeah. If you enjoyed that, please let us know. Get on Apple Podcast, that purple icon, and give us 5 stars. It doesn't matter what you say. No. Say you're following instructions, directions. We don't care. It's not for our ego. It helps drive us up the charts, though, so that's very helpful. Go to shutupandgivememurder.com for all of your small town murder and crime and sports needs, merchandise there, everything, tickets to live shows, small town murder this weekend. We're going to be in Pittsburgh. That's sold out.
Philly.
But Philly is not sold out. Neither is Washington. There's some tickets left for those, so get those. Also, get your tickets for Crime in Sports Live in Nashville at Zany's, April 8th. There are a few tickets left. They're going to be gone very soon. Small Town Murder's already sold out the night before. So get those tickets right now. Do that. Follow us on social media at Crime and Sports on Twitter and Facebook, at Small Town Murder on Instagram. Please do that. Also, and if you want to be a hero of ours, the people we're going to talk about in a moment, our producers who really keep this show going. They really do. They keep this show going and they keep this show being a viable thing. And we can't thank them enough for that and their support for everything they do. You can do that very easily by going to patreon.com/crimeandsports or head over to PayPal and use our email address, crimeinsports@gmail.com. And without further ado, Jimmy, I know what I need. I need a list.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of list. Oh, I know. A list of my favorite people, Jimmy. Jesus Christ. Hit me with it now like a punch to the forehead.
This week's executive producers are Chrissy-Ann Castaldi, Nilu Rafsanjani, Adam Apple, or Apel, Clay Thorson, Britton Edwards, Liz Moy, Catherine Collado. Good luck, by the way. She just, her business is her business, but she's got some stuff going on.
Good luck.
Gina Kudajaroff and Tyler Nymiller. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you,
really
everybody.
Appreciate you guys. You really do the Lord's work.
Thank you.
Whichever Lord it is. Jesse Hartman, Alyssa May Create. She donated both ways. Thank you, Alyssa. B-Rad Stacy, Allison Mathis, Reagan Shockley, Lindsay Colgan, Lainey Zufelt Olson, Peyton Meadows, Charles Volk, Maria Wolf, Gary Howard. Thanks, Gary. Shannon Alkari, Artist Simmons. No, Semantis. Jordan Bennett. Thanks, Jordan.
Hey, Jordan Bennett.
Sam Terran.
We'll see Jordan more.
Yes, we will. A lot more, I'm sure. She's coming. There's so many.
Coming to a couple more shows.
Yeah. Sam Terranova, Emily Trout, Ronnie Kumar, and Ronnie donated twice. Thanks, Ronnie.
Thank you, Ronnie.
Paige Myers, Kenneth Meinhardt, TJ Mack. Oh, thanks, TJ. Appreciate you.
TJ.
Hopefully, we're going to see her probably soon, right?
I hope so. Philly, I think.
Yeah. That's where she's at.
Let's hope so.
Bud Favinger.
It's his favorite finger.
Maybe so. Chris Tarot, Tiffany Robertson, Teresa Harmon, Marlon Morgan. That's Morgan Mahoney. Trevor Selk, Vicky Lindsay, Zachary Eanes, Stephanie Hernandez, Sally with no last name, Webb Tang, Carmen Marquionda. She donated twice. Thank you, Carmen.
Thank you.
Kim. You know what? That could be a dude too. I don't know who Carmen is, but thank you, Carmen. I appreciate it. Kim Redisky, Megan Aguilar Ames, Laura Lafernier, I think so. Megan Charlier or Charlier. She could be more Charlie than you are. Kristen Wright, Crystal Walker.
Kristen Wright, Crystal wrong.
Right. No, wait, where am I? Matt Herder, Morgan Hodakowski, Susan Rodriguez, Paul Edger, House Myth, I think that's a reference to something else, I'm sure, right?
I don't know.
Susanna Rodriguez, I said that. Robin Anderson, Reverend John Gilliard. He came through again.
The good Reverend.
We missed you,
good
buddy.
Good to see you, brother.
Wish you would have been in Atlanta.
Shit, yeah, man.
I don't know what happened.
Missed you, man.
Yeah. Michael Abrams, Havana Simmons, Tara Morse, Rachel with no last name, Devin Resnikoff, Amy with no last name, Leanne with no last name, Justin Miller, Nicole. This is a tough one. Pungatori, I think.
All right.
Probably. Carrie Berger, Stephanie Jones, Amanda Joy, Rachel Elizabeth with no last name, or her last name is Elizabeth. Laura Rodino. That's it, that. Rodino. LaDonna Little Elk.
Cool.
I can't imagine that's a last name, but it might be.
It might be.
Could be.
Might be a native name.
Oh, good call. I didn't even think about that.
Fucking.
Because I'm a dummy. Piper LaRue.
Andrew Jackson. I will not accept Native American names.
Annie Vanderhayden, Lisa Martin, Marcos Simpson, Andy Overton, Jody Tristano, Selena Saitanovich. Thank you, Selena. Jonathan Nesbitt, Crystal Wilkins, Lisa Sivagal. God damn it. Sivagnoli.
Yeah.
I think.
Todd
Sabby, Ryan with no last name, Neil Kosker, Gravity Head Zero, Ethan Lowry? Shit. Denali Hyatt, Elizabeth Dibble, that's it. Courtney Wren, Stephen Rude, Claire Chad, it's Claire Chao. Or Chow. Sarah nice. Hughes, Stephanie Bush, Desiree Norman, Chris Reber, Rachel or Rochelle Ridge, Homestretch, Denise Felsey, Long On Nguyen. I can't do that. I'm terrible. On ANH is the middle name. Cracked rose-colored glasses. I got that. Janet Crosscheck, Ricky Harris, David Sutton, Ward Palmer, Stacy with no last name, and Heather Harrison, and of course all of our Patreon donators and patrons. Is that what they are? Yeah. I think that's what they are. Thank you guys so much for everything you guys do. You really make this happen. You make this worth it.
Thank you, everybody, so much for everything you do for us. Honestly, we can't thank you enough. And we tried to give you an extra meaty, extra crazy.
Doc brings heat.
Doc brings the heat. Yeah. This one is one of those ones where I've been avoiding for a long time because I just knew how much work it was going to fucking be.
35 years of it.
But it was one of those things where I knew we had a week off, and I'm like, let's give him one of the biggies, man. Let's throw down and give him one of the good ones. So thank you so much. What if somebody wanted to thank you, Jimmie? Where can they find you?
You can find me at Whisman Sucks, WHISMAN Sucks on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. Where are you?
I am at Jimmie P is funny. You can find me there, or just copy and paste my last name from the show description. Make it easier on yourself, because that'd probably be the easiest way. But either way, keep finding us, keep listening. Can't thank you guys enough. We're super excited. Next week, we're going to be exhausted. We'll be coming directly from a plane to the studio on no sleep for days and shows. It's going to be rough.
Luckily, we got the same flight.
We're going to be punchy. It'll be fun next week. So do that. But until then, live from the Crime and Sports Studios, we will see you next week.
Bye.
If you like crime and sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
He was hip-hop's biggest mogul, the man who redefined fame, fortune, and the music industry.
The first male rapper to be honored on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy built an empire and lived a life most people only dream about.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up.
But just as quickly as his empire rose, it came crashing down.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I made no excuses. I'm disgusted. I'm so sorry.
Until you're wearing an orange jumpsuit, it's not real. Now it's real.
From his meteoric rise to his shocking fall from grace, from law and crime, this is the rise and fall of Diddy. Listen to the rise and fall of Diddy exclusively with Wondery Plus